All right, everybody. Hey, welcome to the Masterclass on Wholesaling. It's an honor to have each and everybody here from you this morning. We got a lot of great stuff to cover today. Just absolutely jacked up this morning. Nothing wrong with a little music to get your blood pumping, get things rock and roll. Want to thank everybody because we've got people from the East Coast to the West Coast to Canada and south to Mexico join us today throughout the class. Just a lot of great stuff to cover. Don't know exactly where we'll end today. Who knows? We'll end because every class that we teach a little bit different. We know we'll probably end up wrapping up around sometime in the afternoon, but it all depends on the amount of questions that you guys ask. So, and as we go, and I'll tell you this right now, there are no dumb questions, okay? No dumb questions. The one exception is please, if your question is not on point with what we're covering, just hang on. I probably will cover it because this class builds upon itself from session to session. We basically have 12 sessions that we've kind of broken this class down to, maybe 13, but I have 12 sessions on my outline. And this is going to be very interactive with you guys asking questions. Part of it will be slides. Part of us will be jumping on websites. Part of it's going to be us diving in actual files and sharing stuff on there. No, I did not mail out a manual beforehand. I wanted to make sure, and because I probably would forget something and go back and redo it. So I have, don't get me wrong, you guys will have plenty of papers to go through, and we'll send that out afterwards for you guys. But I didn't want you guys getting into the contracts, getting into the documents before we cover that stuff. That's always one of the big things. People start looking at stuff and they think they have something and they don't. So I'm glad to have you. If you're watching the replay of this, hey, great. Guess what, everybody? You'll be able to get access to everything as well too for you. A link with the link with the documents and stuff like that will be along in the replay videos in the description on Vimeo. So we use Vimeo.com for our classes and workshops there for you, not YouTube. But anyway, just so honored to have you guys join me this morning. We've got a lot of stuff to cover, and I want to get into it pretty much right away. But to give you a little bit of background, I mean, wholesaling. Anybody want to raise their hand and say, hey, I'm a little nervous when it comes to buying notes for my own portfolio. I'm a little nervous when it comes to raising capital, or I don't have a lot of capital, don't have a lot of savings, don't have a lot of my own funds. So I'm very nervous about going out and raising capital. Well, I get that. That's a common mind block that thank you for raising you guys' hands. Appreciate it, Fred, V, a few of yous out there. Tony, thank you for sharing that. Here's the biggest thing when it comes to wholesaling. People are very nervous because I don't have the funds. And I was right there with you. I was right there with you to begin with when I started my real estate investment career. I gotten burned. I mean, who hasn't been burned on a deal? I mean, at some point you're going to have a good deal, or do you think it's good goes bad? And you're in this long enough, you're in multiple deals that happen for you. The best thing you can do, though, is jump back into the game, get back on. And that's what I love about wholesaling. You don't need to have your own capital. You will need a little bit of money for marketing, but we're talking minimal when it comes to stuff. And if you're going to be in real estate for long term, these are things and staples that you will be using on a regular basis. So I call it an investment in your business. And it's not that much, but if you know how to evaluate a deal, you know how to look at a deal, and you understand that it's a deal, you can find buyers for this. You can also, if you know people out there and know people that can pull the trigger, you can find deals for them in a lot of cases if you know what's available in today's market and you're not afraid to roll up your sleeves and market a little bit. All right. Now, the biggest thing I would always hope is that you would buy in for your own portfolio first. And once you get through this class and you start marketing, there's one mind shift I want you guys to really focus on changing. If you're wholesaling a deal, and you all will be able to wholesale a deal today, tomorrow, if you actually put into action what we teach you here, is you have to realize that the people that you sell your deals to, people that you sell wholesale a deal, a one-off deal, a piece of property, a bulk deal, those are all potential funding partners for you, or people to partner with you on deals as well. So that's one thing to keep in mind. It's just a change in the conversations, a change in the discussion. Instead of you going out and finding a deal for them, hey, you found a deal for them to fund that partners with you. And we'll get to that later on. That'd be one of the last things we could discuss today. But really, this is a really true nuts and bolts class to really kind of break down the process of wholesaling. Yes, we talk about wholesaling notes, but a lot of these things will come into play in wholesaling real estate, foreclosures, distressed assets, whatever it is. you can use a lot of these principles in your real estate investing career beyond just notes. Okay. So like I've been buying real estate for, golly, it's hard to believe now, over 20 years, 21 years since we bought our first property. And wholesaling was something that I done. My first wholesale deal was back in 2000 and 2002, 2004 actually. And it was actually a house right around the corner from my street. The grass wasn't mowed. You know, that typical thing when they talk about buying and looking at distressed properties and lawns mowed, not being taken care of properly as potential distressed assets for to take a look at. And we'll cover that in a second. But I was able to find the buyer, find the actual owner of the property. It was a divorced house where basically the wife got the house, but the husband had to pay for it still in the divorce. I don't understand the logic in that. They both weren't living in the house. He was moved away 2 hours away. She had moved on with somebody else. And we were able to negotiate getting that deal, that property. Actually, instead of me paying $100 for the deal, I actually got $100 plus the key to the house, which is kind of an amazing thing. Anyway, wholesaled that property for a quick $10,000. So another investor came and did the rehab. I didn't have the money for it. So I basically, my return on investment was an infinite return on investment, right? Because I didn't have to pay anything and I actually made money. I got $100 to mow the lawn, but it only took me like 10 minutes to do. Here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, if you understand the value of the deal, if you understand the potential profit margin, you're willing to leave some meat on the bone, you can make a lot of money wholesaling. But the thing about wholesaling that I say about is you're not buying something long-term. It's nothing wrong to make some quick profits, but it also, it can also, as I say, quick profits are great, but you're constantly got to be going out and looking for deals. And there's really two classifications of wholesalers. You have the, as I say, the throw the spaghetti against the wall where they just try to market everything and try to get something done. I do not want you to be the spaghetti against the wall kind of guy or gal. Okay. We don't want that wholesaler. We want you to be a smart wholesaler. We want you to be an effective. We want you to be a good wholesaler. And this class has been written with that in mind for you. Okay. And this class has totally been written with that in mind, to help you use best practices, best tools, best contracts, that kind of stuff that we use on a regular basis. And we're constantly buying notes for our own portfolio, but we're also flipping notes. We're also wholesaling notes. We're also making some things happen. Negotiated 3 notes yesterday on a wholesale deal for a student. It's an easy thing once you understand it. And honestly, ladies and gentlemen, everybody on here, I believe I know just about everybody on here. I've talked to you at some point, or you've been a part of classes, our virtual Don't Buying workshop, or calling banks, or Note Weekend. You're all capable of doing some amazing things. So anyway, let's move on, get into some basics. We will take some bio breaks throughout. We'll take usually at the end of each session, actually at the end of usually each three sessions, we'll take a short break so you can get up, stretch, whatever you need to do. You're going to want to have a pen and paper there to take a lot of notes with on this, because every situation, every session is a little bit different for you. And I know that everybody has different experiences. So like I said before, there are no dumb questions. I'm just going to ask you to keep your questions on point with where we're at for the discussion. And if at the end of each session, if there are some outstanding questions that I didn't cover on that, I'll say, hey, I'll open up for those questions. And I'll either say, hey, we'll cover that later on, or yes, thank you for bringing it up. So you guys know me. I don't mind having you ask questions. And once again, thank you guys for everybody typing in the chat roll where you're from, what part of the country. Like I said, we have people from the East Coast, the West Coast, all across the country join us here today. And that's the one thing I want to keep you guys to keep in mind. Everybody that's on here is a potential source. Okay. Everybody on here is a potential deal flow. And I would love it if each and every one of you would go over to the Note Nation Facebook group and say, hey, everybody, I'm in Cincinnati, Ohio, or I'm in Huntsdale Beach, or hey, I'm looking for deals in my area, or I'm looking for deals in other people's area, or your top 3 states that you're looking to invest in. Now, it's me like, I'm not going to buy, I'm looking to wholesale. I get it. Why would we put that? Because the idea here, ladies and gentlemen, is a good wholesaler, male or female, knows their list, knows their buyer list. And how many of you are like, oh my gosh, I got to create a list? Well, that's part of marketing. You got to be on social media. Some of you are like scared to show your face. I get it. But you got to start marketing. It's the 21st century, and Scotty's here to beam you up. And I'm giving her all she's got, Captain, to help you start marketing. And that's one of the most effective tools in building your list and finding buyers for your potential deals is social media, email. If you're not using either one of those, you might as well just log off and go back to your job and settle. All right. I'm not trying to be harsh. It's just it is the matter of the way the world works these days. You've got to be on LinkedIn. You need to be on Facebook. Those are two of the biggest things that we'll be using here, showing you along with other things later in the day about how to market or how to build a list. Okay. But before we get going here, I'll give you a bit of an idea what we'll be covering. We'll talk about how to find and negotiate performing and non-performing notes at a discount for you. We'll talk about that throughout the day. We'll talk about how to create and grow your list of qualified buyers who are looking for deals to fund, either partner with or looking for their own portfolio. We'll talk about how to find deals and buyers all across the country. No matter what you get, we'll show you how to leverage the power of some social media stuff for you to be able to find people in that neck of the woods. We'll talk about how to avoid daisy chains and joker brokers out there so that you don't waste your time. And more importantly, don't become one. Okay. That's the last thing you want to do is become a joker broker out there. Not a good spot to be. We'll also talk about how to get buyers, investors calling you with deals, how to set up a hot list, how to set up effective tools so that when you have something, you post something and boom, immediately your list is contacting you. It's a really, really great thing to do. Let's go back here. We'll talk about the contracts, agreements, and the step-by-step process to start wholesaling today. Yes, and that's I need to see the contracts. I got to paper this up. I got to understand A to Z. Look, we'll go through that. Like I said, I didn't want to send that out to you guys before. And don't worry, I got plenty of contracts, plenty of forms already reserved, pulled, and updated here for you guys to use these examples or samples for you. And look, wholesaling is a pretty easy business when it comes to the paperwork side of things. Okay. We'll talk about how to maximize every deal to increase your profits, whether it's a percentage point or a flat fee, or you're carving out a chunk in the middle. It all depends on the discount and how big a deal that you can get. All right. We'll talk about how to convert your wholesale buyers to future funding sources future funders for you. We mentioned at the beginning. We'll talk about it at the very end. We'll also talk about how to use your self-directed IRA to grow wealth tax deferred or tax free. This is a huge opportunity with small amounts. If you've got a small IRA, you can use your IRA to really compound the growth effect of it with small balances by wholesaling. And I see wholesalers all day long who don't use the strategy. I mean, I get it. Many of them are hand to mouth. Hey, I got to make money this month, or I got to make money this quarter to feed and pay my bills. But if you can when you start getting that aspect, start identifying potential deals that you don't have to tap into, or you've got your bases covered when it comes to a salary or job. Hey, don't be afraid to use your self-directed IRA, your ESA, your HSA, your SEP, your Roth, or your traditional to help you put some money, sock some money away for a rainy day or for your retirement. Okay. We'll talk about how to use option agreements. This is a huge opportunity that I don't think a lot of wholesalers spend time on. We'll talk about how to use option agreements and notes to secure millions in deals for as little as $10. And we'll actually give you some actual case studies that we have done and show you how we kind of structured the deal and still do to this day in a lot of the stuff. We actually were working on a $5 million portfolio that we were putting under an option agreement earlier. Actually, it was just at the end of December. We were working on it, still working on it today, trying to getting the seller to come to the table and realize, hey, this is a great option for him. Nothing off of his skin. He's still getting paid what he wants to get paid, but it gives us the flexibility to do some stuff. So you're really going to love that. I'm saving that for the very last section today. Okay. Because I want to go through the basics, the nuts and bolts, and then I'll blow your mind at the very end. Okay. I'll blow your mind at the very end. Now, I would love to know if you typed in the chat roll, what's one or two big things you're looking to learn over the next few hours with us? What's your biggest aha nugget? I know I see some names on here, very experienced real estate investors. Some people are very experienced in the real estate industry, been realtors for years, or mortgage brokers, or done some fix and flips. What's one of the biggest things you're looking to learn over the next couple of hours? If you want, you'll type that in the chat roll in Zoom. I'd appreciate that, and we'll go from there. But let's get rock and rolling. What do you say, huh? Tony Miller says he wants to, one of the big things he wants to learn is how to lock down deals. We'll definitely go that. Fred shares the systems to produce a flow of real deals. Good stuff. I love that, Fred. Great stuff there, Tony. How to automate due diligence. Well, yeah, we'll talk about how some of the things you need to look at to help you with your due diligence. Automating due diligence is a slippery slope, because the more you automate, the more opportunities there for you to miss some things if you're not paying attention. And we'll talk about some of that stuff and go through a deal or two this afternoon on that stuff, okay? All right, so let's dive into it now here with session number 1 for you guys. And let's basically define wholesaling, because there's some people that have heard wholesaling and they don't understand it. And I just want to go through the basics to talk about what is wholesaling and kind of what's involved with this stuff there for you, okay? Pretty simple, not that difficult to understand. Wholesaling's been around for years. People do it on a variety of deal flow, but what is wholesale when it comes to wholesaling real estate? Now, in real estate wholesaling, a wholesaler contracts a home with a seller. Now, by home, we mean that could be a property or a note. This is the basic general description. Then finds an interested party to buy. Now, that may also sound, oh, I might be a realtor. I'm going to put it under, find a property to buy. Well, a realtor is not a wholesaler. Okay. A wholesaler is primarily going to be looking for deals. They're going to put it under a contract of some sort. Okay. The wholesaler contracts the home with the buyer at a higher price than with the seller and keeps the difference of profit. So, hey, let's say RJ has a property he's looking to sell at $70,000. It's worth $100,000. All right. And Tony over here says, oh, that's a deal. Let me put it under contract for 70. I bet I could get somebody to pay me 75 for it. All right. Well, he does. He goes and finds Linda, who wants to buy that house at 75 or maybe 80. So he basically puts the deals together and carves a piece out of the middle, somewhere between 5 and 10 grand in profit on the deal. And you're primarily going to be dealing with distressed properties, distressed notes. This is what we like about distressed notes. Now, don't get me wrong. Doesn't mean you can't wholesale pretty property. Doesn't mean you can't wholesale pretty notes or performing notes. We do this all day long. It's just a different kind of commission or profit structure in the middle, okay? RJ says one of the things he's looking to learn, how to vet note buyers and not ruin your reputation with your note sellers. That's a big thing. We'll talk about that as well. Now, the next thing is, unlike flipping, a real estate wholesaler doesn't do any renovations or additions and carries no cost. You're not technically actually ever closing on the deal. Now, that's not 100% true. Some cases, there's been some cases where we took a property under contract. We knew it, that we were planning on wholesaling it. We knew that if we didn't find a wholesaler, we were going to close on it ourselves. So we took a little bit of time, went in and actually cleaned up the asset by just kind of cleaning it up, pulling the trash out of it so people could have a better idea of seeing the deal. That's not always the case. We did that because we knew we're going to try to wholesale this deal. If we don't wholesale, we were happy taking that deal. So it was still under contract. We had not closed on it, but we had the permission to go in and clean up a little bit to make it a much more desirable offer. Okay. Tony says he wants to know, keeping family offices and institutions from squeezing me out of the middle and pricing evaluation models. We'll get to that there. Awesome. Thank you, Tony. Good stuff there. Now, here's the thing. If you're a wholesaler, you're constantly looking for deals. You're not buying anything. I hate to say this, but as a wholesaler, I really don't consider wholesalers real estate investors, because you're not investing in anything. You're basically a wholesaler. You're making a little bit of money. You're moving on to the next deal. You're not investing in anything and buying something for your own portfolio. You're basically just flipping contracts. And there's nothing wrong with flipping contracts. I flip plenty of contracts myself, but we do buy for our own portfolio. Here's the thing. If you have a preconceived notion that you can't sell, you can't find deals, then you're actually right. You will talk yourself out of doing deals because you'll be scared. You're going to still make mistakes as a wholesaler. You're still going to make mistakes as a real estate investor. But the most important thing I can tell you is to speed up that process. If you keep waiting around for the perfect deal, the perfect wholesale deal, you will never close a deal and you'll constantly be frustrated. You'll have overanalyst paralysis. Okay. Sometimes just getting in the habit of taking a quick view, pulling some quick numbers, and knowing what you have and getting that deal under contract or controlling the asset gives you a lot of flexibility. And we see a lot of investors out there that screw that up because they constantly, oh, it's got to be perfect. I'm going to make a ridiculously low ball offer. Well, sometimes it makes sense to make an above price offer, and then controlling that asset with other assets to then fade your bid back to something that makes sense. Okay. But anyway, basically in layman's terms, you find a property note that you can buy at a discount. You find a 50K property for 20K that you can buy it. You find a buyer for that property note who will pay you more for it than you have it under contract for. So example, you find a buyer who'll pay you 25K, and you assign the contract to buyer for a 5,000 for your profit, and everybody's happy. It's a win, win, win. A win. The seller's happy to get it moved. They're fine moving it at 20 because that's what they need. Maybe they're distressed. Maybe it's a probate, whatever it might be. The buyer is happy because they're getting a deal at 50, 60 cents on the dollar. You're happy because you're making $5,000 for basically not having to put much work into it. And work, I know for many of you, a work is a 4-letter word. You're still going to have to do some work. You're still going to have to do some marketing. You still got to understand what the heck you have. Like with any type of note investing, you got to understand the deal flow. You got to understand what's going on. And we'll get into that a little bit more on the due diligence side. So like I said, I've been wholesaling since 2004 when I'm looking back to my first deal. Okay. $100 turned into 10K. Like I talked about that deal. Then one of the things, then I bought a note later on. I found a distressed property in the MLS. I actually found this from a realtor. We were able to negotiate it, put it on a contract, paid $10 for an option on this thing, and then turned it in over $40,000 profit 30 days later because we flipped it to another investor, another big rehabber who wanted to go. This was actually downtown, just off of Zilker Park here in Austin, Texas, 1,500 Bluebonnet. Beautiful house. Is now worth over $1 million. But for me, back in 2004, making 40K in like 2 weeks was much more valuable than trying to hold it on and put $75,000 to $100,000 in rehab costs. 40K was a much more desirable profit margin for me. And it actually turned out to be the best play because the investor that bought it from us way over demoed the property. The property actually ended up sitting vacant for over a year with no roof because his team got too aggressive. So we actually turned out to be in the right spot at the right time. Okay. Okay. Move on. We've also then, we wholesaled a lot of small stuff. My first note that I wholesaled was in 2008, and actually it was a note that we had under contract from Wells Fargo, a division of Wells Fargo. We basically got a note under contract in Jacksonville, Florida for $6,000. We wholesaled it for $10,000 and just assigned the contract and let the investor fund on the deal. A few weeks later, we ended up getting in contact with Capital One, put a apartment complex, a small 8-unit under contract for $375. We originally were marketing it for $425 to make $50,000. We ended up reducing that to we made it make it $35,000 to $410, and that was happy. And we made made $35,000 in profit in roughly 45 days. A few weeks later, we did the same thing on a 16-unit apartment complex. We made a $100,000 wholesale fee. Could have probably made some more on it, but the idea here, ladies and gentlemen, is we were flexible, and speed in getting multiple offers in can help speed up your commissions, but also can expedite your closing, because that's the whole point. With wholesaling, it's all about making capital, making money sooner than later. Don't get me wrong, sometimes it takes a little bit of marketing, but you got to look at what the deal will offer. And we knew 100K was a no-brainer when it came to that deal. Okay. Then we also wholesale notes making 3% of the funding amount. Wholesaling a portfolio of 100 assets, wholesaling a portfolio of 175 assets, and actually making 15% spread, not just 3%, but a 15% spread across the board. 3% is pretty normal for non-performing notes. And we've also wholesaled other small deals, performing notes, where we're just making a flat $500 fee or 1% sales charge on the commission. Now, some of you guys may be familiar with our buddy David Polio over at SN Servicing. He's famous for selling off assets and being a 1.5% broker fee. Well, he's basically wholesaling. He's getting these deals in, stuff that he doesn't own. He's just helping his clients or other people they know sell these assets to his list, accepting the offers and helping facilitate the closings. He's not actually closing on these things. He's basically wholesaling and making either a flat fee or 1.5% of the funding amount. And so wholesaling notes has been around for years when it comes to paper. People have always bought debt. We know this from you guys being part of our virtual note buying workshop and things like that. But there's a lot of opportunity here. And what I want to do is try to build it down to the basics when it comes to everything. Look at a deal and evaluate the deal. The best wholesalers are always going to be the ones that are evaluating like they're going to close on it themselves. Now, we're not talking about spending an exorbitant amount of money on systems, because a lot of the things you need are just stuff you would need anyway. We're not talking about going out and paying hundreds of dollars for BPO. We're not talking about going out and spending hundreds of dollars for an O&E report, ownership and encumbrance report, like a title report. But there are some things we'll get into later today when it comes to due diligence, and some simple things you can order to help you justify your bids and justify your stuff that you have under contract. And here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. It also, one of the most underlying factors that you'll never know, and this kind of goes into what Tony Miller mentioned on here, what he was looking for, is you got to know the motivation of the seller. Okay. How long has this deal been around? What is their motivation? What do they need? Some people are not motivated, so it doesn't make sense to waste time with them, because they're not going to take a big discount. If they're not motivated in some sort of fashion, it's not worth pursuing, especially if it's a skinny deal. There are plenty, not only of distressed borrowers out there for non-performing notes, but also distressed sellers out there, distressed investors. And distressed doesn't mean that they're behind on bills or they're struggling. It may just mean that they're tired of dealing with the assets. Maybe they bought a small portfolio or some assets early on and they've moved on to something else. We see that happen. 3 notes on Friday. The sellers had these notes for over a year. 2 of them performing, one's non-performing. It's not his main business model anymore. So he's motivated to sell these 2 deals at a big discount, and the third one basically let it go for nothing because the asset doesn't have a high value. And we'll talk about that as we go through this stuff. But here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, and I want you guys to really take this in today, okay? It's going to sound funny, like something out of an Adam Sandler film or Rob Schneider, but you can do it. And I want you to say, I can do it. Say it with me. I can do it. You can do it all day long. You can wholesale all week long, all month long, all year long. I can do it. I can do it. If you've never bought a note, you can wholesale something in the next 90 days or sooner. All right, 30 days, 60 days. Some of the things that we'll go through, you guys will be like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. Okay. You can do it. B, thank you for typing that in there. I appreciate that. Yes, you can do it. And it all just depends on the time you put it. Now, if you're dabbling in notes, or you're what's the word I'm looking for here? You've got a full-time job. That's totally fine. I mean, wholesale may not be something for you. It may be something you want to do to start things off, to get the ball rolling. Hey, nothing wrong with that. But here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to take some time. It all comes out to marketing. And the beautiful thing, if you're marketing for wholesale deals, whether it's notes or real estate, that's great. It's a lot of the similar things that you would do to be buying for your own portfolio. Okay. V Chambers, I can do it. That's right, V. You sure heck can. Fred, yes, I can. Yes, I can. That's right. It's like that little engine. I think I can. I think I can. I think I can. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. I think I can. I know I can. I know I can. And that's some of the things out there. And as we talk about, guys and gals, you've already honestly have a big part of what you need to be successful as a wholesaler. You already have a lot of stuff that goes into our next segment here, but you already have a lot of things lined up already. You may just not know it already. Okay. You may just not look at that specific aspect of things as a tool for your business, but you already have a lot of the foundation in place. Heck, we've already done a lot of the heavy lifting for you in a lot of cases. You've got some opportunities. You've got some great things that you can put to work immediately now in helping you close deals. You just got to go out and find the deals, and there's some resources there available for you, and find the buyers. And there's plenty of resources there for you available. So let's get rock and rolling here with this. Let's see here. The last couple of questions. I can. That's right, Tony Miller. The little engine that could. Good stuff. All right, let's talk about session number 2, because this is really what it all comes down to. Is one of the most important things right off the bat. If you want to be a good wholesaler, it doesn't start with the deals. Honestly, I mean, yes, it helps, but you got to have a buyer's list. I see, and this is one of the biggest things I see people screw up on all the time when they're buying notes from their own portfolio, is they get so excited about the deal. Let's look at the spreadsheet. Let's look at the tape. But they don't market for capital. So they get handcuffed by the 50 or the 100 grand or the 500 grand in their account, because that's what they focus on, versus realizing to go out and build raising private capital. Because every person that's going to fund a potential deal is a buyer. And this is one of the most important things. That's why it's number 2 session, is building a buyer's list. Okay. One of the best advices I've ever had. And this actually, I'll give you a great, great feedback on there, is that one of my mentors early on said, Scott, everybody you come in contact with at a RIA club, whether it's the people speaking, it's the people in the audience, or it's the vendors, whether it's a RIA, a conference, a networking event, whatever it might be, everybody is a buyer, a seller, or a funding source. Okay. Everybody's looking for deals. And they may not, and they also are a funding source, whether it's their money or somebody else's money or a referral to somebody else. So the more that you communicate with your list, the more effective you're going to be. And right 2 years ago, it's hard to believe 2 years has flown by, but 2 years, no, actually it's been a year. Now that I think about it, a year has gone by, because it just came up on the announcement back a couple of weeks ago, a replay of it, is last year we had Dean Graziosi on the Note Closer Show podcast. And it was a 30-minute episode, right at 35 minutes. And Dean, I shared one strategy. And Dean's notorious for being a wholesaler. One of his favorite strategies is wholesale and real estate. Now he does a variety of things, apartments. He's doing a lot with Tony Robbins these days, and Russell Brunson doing some masterminds and coaching. But when I asked Dean, I said, if you had to start all over again, Dean, where would you start all over? And he was like, oh, that's easy. I would be wholesaling notes, wholesaling real estate. That's if I had nothing. I had no money, nothing. That's what I would do with it. And maybe you've seen the 1 Minute Millionaire, Robert Allen. Robert Allen, my buddy Bill Barnett up out of Dallas used to work with Bill. Robert Allen, same thing. Bob Leonetti, one of my mentors and early educators, somebody I learned the note business from for 4 years. He used to work with Bob Allen. And what things Bob would do, he would go into any city, and with like $1,000, he would find deals to flip. He would wholesale deals. He would make things happen. One of the things that we did at when I was teaching with Bob back in the day, we would host these events called Paper Summit. And I would fly in, if the class was a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I would fly in like the Friday before. And I would start scouting out deals. I would literally start looking the minute I got off the airplane for potential deals. And you'll see deals everywhere. How do you see them? Well, so you're driving the properties that have broken windows, or they look like the lawns, Jumanji, or you see the bandit signs. Hey, I've got a 4-bedroom, 3-bath house, or whatever, cash buyers or for sale by owners. Okay. Like I was in my hometown the past couple of days, spending some time with my mom, celebrating her 70th birthday. And I'm driving by, and we stopped because I saw a 60-unit self-storage unit that looked like it had been vandalized, wasn't being taken care of. On the way down there, I saw another 60 unit. I tucked the phone number in and been communicating with sellers on. I saw an 8-unit hotel. It says for sale by owner, and it's vacant. It's potentially. There's some things out there to find deals, but you've also, that's great. But if you don't have anybody to flip the deal to sell it to, that's the biggest thing. And so starting with the buyer's list versus the deals is one of the most important things you can do. Yes, you got to have something. You got to have a list to send to, because if you have a deal, that's great. But if you have no list to send it to, no funding sources or whatever buyers, you're just going to end up burning a bridge and waste your time and being more frustrated. Okay. So let's talk about building a buyer's list here. Your list literally is everything. And investors, educators, your list, your email database is everything. Your social media network, your connections on LinkedIn, Facebook. We're all in the media space these days, ladies and gentlemen. Some of you just are basically, you're that big chief Indian at the end of the night at 2:00 in the morning with just static going, or the 7 yellow lines that most people don't know what the heck those are these days. But it used to be with programming, obviously, at midnight when the big networks had nothing else. It turned off and you just saw the chronogram bar. Most of you are in that right now, the chronogram bar, because you're not putting a list together. You're not taking the time to network. You're not taking the time to build your list. And your list is everything. And so you have to start building your list now. Okay. And your list of investors is always to start with your warm market. And I always make the joke that many people have a shoebox of business cards at home, right under their bed or in their closet. People they've gone out network, they've gone out to these conferences, they got people's cards, but they never did anything with it. Okay, you have to stop that insanity right now. You have to stop doing that. If you're going out to RIA clubs and meetings and you get business cards, please start doing this one simple thing. Okay, actually, it's two simple things. When you get home or when you're there, okay, if you're at the event and now you're sitting down, you got some little time, which you probably shouldn't have. You got little time, you should be up and networking with people, the vendors and other people there, and getting their contact and for their business cards and swapping cards. Yes, business cards are still important in real estate. Some people are like, oh, you don't need a business card. Use a CAPTCHA, use this thing's a card scanner. Yes, that's great, but it can't stop you there. Don't get me wrong, like Evernote, there's a bunch of different apps you can use on your phone to scan a card and it puts into a database for you. That's great. But that only works if you do part two, putting all your contacts into a database, Excel, first name, last name, email, city, state, zip, or city, state, phone are the things you need. I would go ahead and put the mailing address. You never know. But putting their full information, their full contact, their email, their cell phone number, the name is one of the most important things. And asking, the reason we ask for address, I want to look at city, state, because that's where most people are going to invest. Most people are going to be very comfortable investing in their backyard. Okay. And so one of the things when we talked about this morning here, I asked you when you guys were coming on, is what part of the country you're in, what city, state. So we had, like right now, if we go on here, if we look back here, you've got somebody from Huntington Beach, you've got somebody from Cincinnati, Ohio, Los Angeles, Houston area, Washington, D.C., if I said that already, sorry, Portland, Oregon, all right, Colorado Springs, Tampa Bay, New York City, Austin, Texas, Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, okay, Houston again, Polk, Ohio, all right, Midlothian, Texas, that's just south of Dallas, down by Waxahachie, okay. You now have people all across the country that should be part of your buyers list, all right. I say this because it's important, all right. It's important for you. Now, if it's okay, one of the things I will do as a bonus here is for those of you that are on here today, you should have had to ask what your phone number was and then the city, state. I will send out the registration of those lists for those that are registered here. Okay, those that actually have showed up, attended. I will send you the list for everybody so you guys can communicate with each other. So start building your list now. That's one of the most important things that was rammed in my head. Start putting people's into a list, okay? Start putting their names into a list so that when you have something or you see something that falls into that spread, into their wheelhouse or their market, you have a place to go with it, okay? Now, Excel is the easiest thing to use. Google Docs, you could use that, something there for you. But you also need some sort of CRM. And by CRM, we mean that's a customer relationship management, okay? That's basically an email service provider. And I use keep.com because when I get people in my database, all right, what am I doing when I wrap up the day? I'm downloading the list of registrants and I'm uploading that list into keep.com. And the reason I ask for city, state, zip, and your phone number or your cell phone is so that when I have something, I can market it to you. I can literally go into my email and say, okay, who lives in Ohio? Or more importantly, who lives in Tampa, right? Tampa Bay, Tampa, what's that? Or Florida area, or their top 3 states to invest in. I've asked that many times on webinars and stuff. Who's investing in Florida, Texas, whatever. How can I narrow my list down so that I can get something to the most popular buyers? And that takes us back to that business card. When you're out talking to people, if they don't have their address on it, state and city where they're at, ask them, hey, where do you invest in? Where's home for you? Okay. When you're not out marketing and networking with people for the first time, and many people are scared to network, use the from method. Where are you from? Hey, hi, Jim. Hi, B. Where are you from? That's what the F in form stands for. You go out and form tackle them. F, where are you from? R, recreation. I'm sorry. O, occupation. Sorry. O is occupation. What do you do? What do you invest in? R, recreation. What you do for fun? Or what are you doing for the holidays? And then M, your message. Well, I'm also an investor. I invest in such and such areas, or I like buying notes, or I like buying performing notes or apartments, whatever. Start sharing that stuff. And here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, we're starting to see events come back. Real estate conferences, meetups. I was at a banquet on Thursday night with over 3,000 people in Corpus Christi, Texas. Of course, if you're in Texas, we don't believe in social distancing unless you're distance close to people, but over 3,000 people at a banquet to hear Tim Tebow speak and some other things. Realize that you going out and networking, you have to get outside your shell. Yes, I know there's some people on here like, hey, I'm kind of remote. I'm an hour and a half away or 2 hours away from really a big city. Then you got to figure out a way to do that. That's why you want to leverage the social media aspect of things. But business cards are really important. Putting your face on your business card as you're giving out, I still think is one of the most important things you can do, because that still helps build branding. I don't care about the Keller Williams logo or your business logo. Don't give a rat's ass about that. What I do care about is that your smiling face in there. So if somebody's got your business card, they can recognize the name of the face. It's still subtle patterns that people will recognize. If you put a logo on there, people are going to look at, don't really recognize logos. Okay. Yeah, they may remember the logo, but they're not going to remember you. Put your face, put your smiling face. This is one of the most important things. Like if you're on LinkedIn, don't put your business logo or your LLC logo as your face. Put your smiling face. Okay. Now, getting out networking with people, very, very important. Meetups, like I said, pretty easy to go on to. If you're doing a virtual meetup, okay, one of the things that we like doing is, as I've said before, is look at where you're buying assets or your top 3 to 5 states, or if you're getting deals in on a regular basis in an area, then go join a meetup group in that area. So like, I'll give you a great example. I live in Austin, Texas. All right. But I'm also part of a big Tampa area. I'm also a big part of a big Atlanta area. Why? Because I see a lot of deals in those areas. And I go, when I see a deal that I'm not going to take down myself, I go and post there and also use it to connect with other people. Okay. Real estate investment clubs in your local area, best spot. As self-directed IRA meetings. We've talked about this before from our virtual workshops, but those are great places to go to. Do you host meetups or conferences in Austin? I have not, Bill. I have not in a long time. Most everything we do is virtual through Zoom like this. But we are talking about doing a kind of a weekend thing, kind of a mastermind, getting people together here in Austin. There are no buyers here in Austin, but the local RIA is pretty focused on their business they do still wholesaling, but they do some fix and flips or stuff like that. They're more of a solo. They won't let anybody in from outside. They're really just focused on their business for the RIA. So I don't attend it because they're not really providing anything where of value and stuff like that. Now, if I have a deal here locally, then I would go to it, but I don't buy much stuff in Austin because Austin's overpriced. Okay. That's why when I see stuff, it's usually outside of Austin that I can, and that's why I like to go to meetup groups finding meetup groups in those cities and marketing deal either on the discussion board at the meetup groups or the posting. There's some places where you posting there for you. But if you're in here in Austin, hey, or near here in Austin, feel free to shoot me a message, email, and be glad to grab a cup of coffee with you some morning. I always love networking with investors here. Okay. Awesome. So like Linda did a great job. She put out her LinkedIn profile and phone number here in the chat room for everybody to take a look at, which is good. That's what you should be doing. When you build a list, start targeting people, start reaching out. Hey, it was great meeting you at the RIA this last night. It was great meeting you at this conference over the weekend. Love to talk with you. Love to talk more about what you're doing. I mean, I literally have, if people opt into my website or come to my website, they automatically we send an email out to them the next day. Hey, thank you so much. It's a personalized email. Hey, Jim. Hey, John, saw that you were checking out some podcast episodes or checking out one of our classes. Love to talk to you. How can I help you? Let's schedule a phone call. All right. Schedule time to meet. All right. Now, those are going to be probably the easiest places for you, not only to build people to your list, but also to pitch your deals. So it's kind of a 2-for-1 in that first line: meetup, RIA club, self-directed IRA meetings. Most of them will have an opportunity for meeting in person or even via Zoom for you to come on and pitch your deal. Hey, I've got a deal. All right. Now, our buddy Paul Riley, I don't know if Colin this morning, he went to a meetup group in Philadelphia recently, 70, 80 people there. And he had a note deal. He's pitching, looking to wholesale, looking to flip it, make 10 grand. Well, they wouldn't let him give up pitch it because it's a note deal. It's not a real estate deal. Like, well, yes, it is. And the guy that runs the group is a little squirrely, a little weird. Not usually the case for most RIAs. Most meetups will allow you to come up and pitch a deal through their have and wants. And that's a great place to get up in front of the room. Hey, I've got a deal. And we'll talk about how to pitch that stuff later on. But that's number one on the list. Now, second thing, which I think is really important these days, is LinkedIn. Okay. LinkedIn, besides being able to post things there and kind of connect with other people, it's really a great way to search out buyers, people, investors in other parts of the country by simply going in real estate investor Cincinnati, real estate investor Georgia, okay, real estate investor Los Angeles, all right, and being able to see who fills that out and literally buying creating a hot list for you, okay? Very easy to do. LinkedIn, you all need to make sure you have a complete LinkedIn profile and it's updated. Now, yes, you can post your deals on there. We'll talk about some of the things that you want to say and don't want to say later on through the marketing, okay? But LinkedIn, I think everybody on here has a pretty strong LinkedIn profile. If you don't, then you sure as hell better get your butt moving. If you're waiting around, you're only hurting yourself, okay? And LinkedIn is one of the great things. Yes, I know that they've kind of tweaked it. If you've got a brand new account or a smaller connection account, they will limit the number of invites that you can send out, a number of connections you can make. It's like 100 a week. That's okay. 100 a week is more than most of you have done in years, okay? Meeting 100 people, connecting with 100 people in a week is going to be exponentially greater than what most of you will do before you ever come to a workshop with us. All right. Now, some of you are leveraging and doing very well. There's things that you can use to speed that up, and we'll get to that in a little bit. All right. Now, the next thing, Facebook and LinkedIn groups. I'm going to say this with a grain of salt. There are some really good, large Facebook groups and some really good, large LinkedIn groups. There are also a lot of crappy groups. Okay. But what I like using LinkedIn for is if I do see some deals in Houston or Pittsburgh or things, Ohio, I can automatically jump to Facebook and type in Ohio real estate or, LA real estate or Houston real estate and find groups there that if I join, usually it's okay for you to post a deal. Most of them want you to be posting deals, start a discussion. I don't say sell something. I say start a discussion because it does a better job. If you say selling something, they're going to ask for the address and things like that. And for a wholesaler, you probably don't want to disclose the address right off the bat. So going on and posting, hey, I've got a deal in Tampa. Here's a picture of the property. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. It'll rent for $800 a month. It's worth conservatively right now somewhere around 100. It can be yours for 70,000. All right, and you have it under contract for 65 or 60 or whatever. Okay, but posting in these groups is a great. I'll give you a great example. Larry Hoffman on here, I think he is. He went on to a couple groups on LinkedIn and said, "Hey, I'm buying notes. I'm starting to see some REO assets come along the board. Anybody interested in stuff?" And that's all he said. And I believe Larry had over 170 people respond on 2 posts. And people that respond with their name, their email, their cell phone, or they message him directly. 170 people that say they're hungry, that are looking for stuff is a great thing. Yeah, Larry confirms. He says, correct. It had over 170 people respond in a matter of just a few days. All right. Now, with what Larry did, it also has a double-edged sword to it. It's great because he's getting people. But you know what? Other people, if they're smart, will see that and go out there and copy paste that information into their database. That's what I did. Thank you, Larry, for doing the work. All right. That's one of the things that I started off with when I was building the list right up. That I would see people post things and like 20 people respond or 100 people respond. I'm like, oh my God, it works. That works out really well. A funny story. If you have a lot of these meetup groups out there, some are like Note or meetup groups where they literally they ask questions of the people who are joining the groups. Hey, what's your cell phone? What's your best email address? Well, if they do that on a regular basis, you go to the profiles of those people, you go to the members list and you click on the member, it may show you their email address and phone number and copy pasting it over. I was sitting on a Saturday here watching a football game and I saw a Note meetup group somewhere in the country. And they had 160 note investors on there who had shared their contact information, their cell phone, their email address. I was like, oh, kudos. Let me go on there and add those people into my buyers list. And then what did I do? I sent them an email. I sent every one of them an email through Keep. So I could write one email and went out to all 160 of them, but it was personalized. I said, hey, saw that you're a member of blank meetup group. I saw that you're a note investor. You still investing in notes. What are you looking for? What kind of deal flow are you looking for? You know, performing, non-performing, what? Love to add you to my buyers list. If not, no biggie. I'll just delete. But if you are looking for stuff, I'd love to know, because we see a lot of deals. Okay. Okay. Frank, do yourself a favor, buddy. Go to your Frank Caldwell mentioned on here, just for everybody. So hey, find me on LinkedIn, Frank Caldwell, owner, channel, Capital Partners, LLC Group, South Carolina. Do yourself a favor, Frank. Make it easy for people. Go and get your URL, your profile website or your profile link, and share that, so people just have to click on that to go there. Okay. You want to make it easy for people to connect. And that's one of the things when I send an email out to people, hey, love to connect with you. Here's my LinkedIn profile. They can click on it and they go directly to there. The face looks the same on the email I sent out. And that's the thing. When you're building a buyer's list, you got to communicate with them. Now, I know, yes, some people on Facebook will just comment, oh, message me here, send me a PM. I get it. Okay. The most important thing that you can do is start making it easy for people to make things happen. So let me show you how to find it here. If you go to, hopefully you can see my screen. Go to your, oh, that's Facebook. Let me go to LinkedIn. So if you go to LinkedIn, really easy to find people's URLs. You just basically click on, like, let's do this here. Let's go Frank Caldwell. Let's see Frank, we can find Frank Caldwell. Let's help a guy out this morning, right? All right, so I think it's here. And we'll click on this, Frank Caldwell. All right, Frank, you see here, business owner at Channel Capital Partners. Big mistake, you don't have a profile photo. Put a photo. Take a selfie right now, go to LinkedIn on your phone and upload the profile. Upload your photo. You will have more people working with you when you have a smiling photo. Now, here's something else. Some of you have a downright RBC, RBF, resting bitch face, okay? Smile. Put a smile on the photo. Look like you actually enjoy life. You may hate life, but go on there. So there's Frank. We click on Frank right here on his profile. And Frank, right up above here, here's your URL, Frank Caldwell. And I'm going to do you a favor here. We're going to put this in the chat roll for everybody. To everyone. Some people struggle with that, but that's okay. There you go. But that's the thing is, you know, I see Frank's online right now because he's got the red dot, but we got to put a picture on here. Also, too, some things with your LinkedIn is one of the first places people are going to look at you on your buyers list. Hey, is this guy serious or this gal serious? So put a picture here. I don't care how old you are or how many years young, but put your smiling face and put your logo. Put a picture of a property or something up here that looks like you actually are alive. Okay, one of the most important things that you can do. Jason asked me a question. Have you heard of note crowdfunding like constitutionlending.com? No, I've not heard of them, Jason. I've not heard of them at all. Okay. Don't know anything about it. So I can't answer you anything about it, honestly. Okay. All right. But this is one of the most important things. Now, here's the thing too. LinkedIn used to be one of the best ways to build a list. Like 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I don't remember exactly. I think it was maybe close to 4 years now. On Thanksgiving Day, they changed profile settings. It used to be if you went to somebody's profile and you connected with people, you could export your connections from LinkedIn and everybody's email address was right there. It was a great way to build a database. Well, Thanksgiving 4 years ago, they started to hide it. You had to actually go onto your profile and make your email visible. Okay. So that like we go here, oh, see, Frank, he's got it visible. Here's his email, commercialcreditapps@gmail.com. That's great. Frank probably didn't know that, but that's okay. Many of you these days don't have your email shown where people get a hold of you. Now you want to probably go in and change your contact information to Frank to put your phone number down there. And then also everybody put in the about you activity. Put a little bit about what you're looking for. Hey, I'm a real estate investor. I've also see deals on a regular because people will go check out your profiles just like we're doing today. Putting Frank under a spotlight. And there's no ill will meant to this. We just want you guys to walk away from this class being smarter, more effective investors. Now, of course, one of the things you can do too as well on LinkedIn, and I just want to bring this up while we're up here, is go to some of these groups, okay? Got a question, chat roll. Good. Is if you go to your groups. Now, we're a part of some very large real estate groups, okay? I should be able to, I'm going to make sure you can see my screen. Yeah. So like I've gone through and joined some big groups on real estate. I've tried to find the largest real estate groups out there. Now there's some other ones that are out there that I'm still have pending membership on them or pending invite because people don't go and check this. LinkedIn groups, and just like Facebook groups, some are more active and others are just groups. They're not very active. You can see what kind of posts and things like that on Facebook a little bit easier. But right here, these are more general real estate. You're not going to find like state or city specific groups. These are going to be mostly generic investors of real estate or things like this, like Pete Osmus, Private Lenders, Brokers and Investors Group, Stephen Piscano, Real Estate Investors Network, the Real Estate Investor Group here, Note Acquisitions and Dispositions, Real Estate Buyers, Sellers, Innovators, Investors and Developers. The Distressed Real Estate Investment Group has 137,000 members. Pete Asmus, Real Estate Networking Investor Strategies has 603,000 members. Okay. Bank Direct Notes and REO, Brett Palumbo's group only has 6,600, but it's still not bad. Residential Real Estate Cash Flow Investing and Finance, 104,000. And some of these groups are on here pretty good. Like Real Estate Professionals and Vendor Network, 106. Let's see here. Pete Osmus Commercial Real Estate Investment Development and Property Management, 120,000. So you see, there's some groups, commercialrealestate.com, 67,000, 74,000, Real Estate Development Funding. So some of these groups are great to go to and join, but you got to post in there on a regular basis. Yes, B. Snyder asks, a cat lover group. Yes, we're utilizing LinkedIn. I put my money where my mouth is. My spouse, Stephanie, she's putting on an event called the Fur Baby Summit. She doesn't have a big database. So what we do, we went and joined a large LinkedIn group for her and started working at to build a database for her by posting stuff there on a regular basis. So yes, I do that to help her post. All right. Don't always have to be just real estate stuff. There's other strategies that we love. I've got some podcasting stuff. I have radio broadcasting because there's other things that help me market. So yes, cat lover group. I know it stands out for you there. You're like, what the heck? Yes, I'm a cat dad. I'm consider myself more of a dog guy, but I'm still very, very fond of our 4 little felines running around the house, or 5 running around the house today. But anyway, use these groups. If you're not a part of them, they can't help you. Okay. If you're a part of them, that's great, but you still need to share something. And you want to set these things up and start communicating and sharing things on here in time. So when you have something, people already pay attention to you. Okay. If we go over to Facebook, if we go to groups on Facebook here, there's a lot of groups on Facebook. So you've got Note Nation group. Okay. Each and every one of you already has roughly a database of 1,000 plus investors right here in the Note Nation Facebook group. That's why I told you guys, if you're not a part of this, okay, and go post something. I see there you go. Look at Larry Hoffman. You are coachable. My name is Larry Hoffman. I'm looking for deals in Ohio, Indiana, Texas, North Carolina, South Carolina, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. Boom, I'll prove that. Good stuff. Good stuff, Larry. Way to take action. Okay. But that's one thing you guys can all do. Go on there and post your top 3 favorite states. Okay. And we'll make sure and share that for you. All right. Anyway, 3 rescues and 2 ferals that we're adopting out. But anyway, there's also these other groups on the side here everybody looks at. So like I'm in Cedar Park, Texas. So I'm a part of my Cedar Park podcast group. Okay. I'm sorry. Cedar Park Round Rock Awesome Group, where I can post deals there, buy, sell, trade, discuss if I see things. All right. Many of you should be joining groups in different parts of your city. So like Larry, one of the things that Larry could do, if we go down, oh, come on here. I got to change my profile. That's why it's showing differently. My personal profile. You can see the groups. There we go. So groups I've joined here. So like Michigan Note Investors, I buy stuff in Michigan. So I'm going to join the Michigan Note Investors group. Okay. I'm part of it. So if I have a deal, I'll post it there in Michigan. Okay. And I'm going to go back here and some of you guys are in LA. Like there's a couple big real estate groups out there. California Real Estate Investors, Real Estate Investors Group. Let's see here. Yeah, there's some more cat groups there because we're helping with that aspect of things. You guys are laughing at me, which is okay. Tampa Bay Real Estate, Tampa Real Estate Investing, California Real Estate Investing, a generic real estate investing group, Nationwide, Real Estate Investors Network of Southern California, Greater Cleveland Area Real Estate Investors Association, Florida Real Estate, San Antonio. Let's see here, DFW Sub 2s. Okay. Well, let's see. We keep going down here. Greater Dayton Real Estate Investors Association. We see Dayton stuff in Dayton. Houston area podcasters. That's the thing there. What else we got? Some different groups, different cities. Boom, boom, boom. Multifamily investor nations. And then I went to the Facebook group. So if I see a multifamily deal, I go post it there. That's a really good self-storage show Facebook group. That's a podcasting group for just people in self-storage facilities. If I see a self-storage facility, I go post there, and guess what? People they're buying. So that's what I'm trying to get at with you guys, is going and join some of these groups. Doesn't cost you anything. Those are all free. And as you have something, if you're seeing things in those areas, to post there on a regular basis for you. Frank asked me a question. Are you getting any traction on Clubhouse? And the answer to that is no. I was really kind of gung-ho about Clubhouse initially, but what we see on Clubhouse is a lot of people that aren't doing anything. You have a lot of people, and we all got to start somewhere, don't get me wrong, okay? But it's the same regurgitated information over and over again. And if I see somebody who's got 1 million clubhouses that they're hosting, it tells me one thing: they're not doing anything. Okay. Now, LinkedIn is coming out with its own kind of audio version of Clubhouse, which I think will be very, very powerful, because if you have the LinkedIn audio aspect of that, now when you're posting and doing audio, your connections will connect with. I think they'll be much more valuable. Clubhouse, I honestly, I haven't logged into Clubhouse in a couple months. I thought it was pretty good, and I initially made some traction with some stuff, and we were doing stuff on a regular basis. I was jumping in rooms. I was walking each day, jumping in rooms, connecting with people using an app to pull information. But we have found it really, that'd be unfortunately a waste of time. And I think a lot of people, a lot of my fellow marketers, podcasters, real estate guys and gals, they don't spend any time on there anymore because it's just not worth the time, not worth the investment of time for such low results when it comes to deal flow. You get people that are interested. You get a lot of tire kickers, but very few action takers. Okay. Good question. I'm glad you asked about that. Let me go back here and share my screen some. So going back here to the group, you can go to Bigger Pockets too. Bigger Pockets is a great place to start. You can see people do searches for people by zip codes, and you just got to be careful that the Bigger Pockets police doesn't get mad at you for self-promoting. Now they have them, if you've got the not the free version of it, but if you have the updated version for like $99 a month or something like that, you can post on their marketplace with deal flow, and you'll see some traction with that if you post on a regular basis. I know that's what Tracy Rui was doing with a lot of 80 speeds deals, and I thought there were a lot of overpriced stuff or really marginal stuff that they were listing on there. It was okay if you were using your own funds, but if you had to use other people's money, it just didn't make a lot of sense. There wasn't a lot of meat left on the bone, and I haven't seen her posting on there. She may still be doing it, but just not effective if you're posting marginal deals and trying to squeeze all the profit for yourself. I think there's better deals in better places. Now you can go to Connected Investors and look for investors there as well. They've got some platforms to post stuff, to reach out and build a network on there. I like using Bigger Pockets primarily to raise capital, to find people that have money they're looking to invest $50K, $75K, $100K on there, and using those for keywords. But the same thing, you go on there and look for people in Detroit, or look for investors or wholesalers. It's if you've got the paid version of Bigger Pockets. The same thing with Connected Investors. Places to find some people, but it's gonna take a little bit more work than the organic features of Facebook, LinkedIn, and the meetup groups. Okay, and they also will. They're kind of hypocritical when it comes to their policing posts. Some things they let people get away with, and other things they don't let other people get away with. So it is what it is. Don't be too surprised if you get slapped on the wrist and post. Same thing with meetup groups. You can't go and post the same exact post more than 3 times in 3 meetup groups. Otherwise, they'll say, "Hey, this looks like spam." Even sometimes twice. So you got to be careful when you're posting in multiple meetup groups the same thing. You've got to switch it up a little bit. So something to keep in mind there for it. Okay. Now, the most important thing, as we mentioned this before, is get to know your list of buyers. Get to know what they're buying, what they're looking for, and that gives you, as I like to say, the shopping list that you can go buy some groceries for. Okay, what are their buying parameters? What are you looking for? Like I had a great, we was talking with B yesterday on there. I asked her, I said, "Well, what type of returns are you looking for? Tell me." "Well, they're looking for double digit." If it's not double digit, it's not really worth our time. I get it. Great, perfect. Looking for probably 10 to 12% plus ROI in performing notes and non-performing notes as well. Okay. What types of deals are they looking for? All right. Now, if you're posting in a note group, it's pretty simple that, hey, you're looking for notes, performing or non-performing notes in those states. Okay. But if you don't know what they're looking for, ask them. Now, we'll share a tool that we use every year that is a big hit with us. It helps us identify our buyers a little bit. But asking, hey, what are you looking? What kind of deals? Well, I'm a renter. I'm buying stuff in Indiana. I'm looking for rentals in Indiana, specifically, oh my God, South Bend or particularly Indiana. Okay. Like I know that if I have something in Elkhart, Indiana, I'm going to call Gene Chandler. Gene's my boy up there. I know if I have something in Louisiana, predominantly Baton Rouge or New Orleans, who am I going to call? I'm going to call my buddy Jonathan Burden. Okay. Because I know that he buys and they close stuff on those regular books. Elkhart, Indiana. I know I get anything right around Elkhart. Gene knows that area very, very well, like the back of his hand. If I'm buying anything in Austin, Texas, hopefully me, if it's not overpriced. You get what I'm saying? Is need to know what you're looking for, and that leads to conversation. Hey, what are you looking for? What kind of deals are you doing? I've used LinkedIn the last 6 months with a tool called Octopus CRM to really reach out to people. Hey, what kind of deals are you looking for? I come across all sorts of stuff that we're buying for our own portfolio first, but if I see something that doesn't fit our parameters, I'm glad to email. So what are you looking for? Okay. What cities, and this is the most important thing, what city states are they investing in? This is why we put this on the spreadsheet. This is why you want to have and understand that information so that they know that, oh, hey, wholesalers that just blast stuff out to the entire database, like people that live in like South Florida, they're not going to buy something probably in Detroit. Okay. They might, but they might not. And that's the big fallacy a lot of people make, is that they just blast their whole list. And then you lose your subscribers. You lose the value of the list because you're like, I don't want to buy that. I don't want to buy that. I don't want to buy that. Like I got a couple of guys that are out of Phoenix, and they're constantly wholesaling properties in New Orleans, or not New Orleans, but in Arizona, or Phoenix, Scottsdale. Well, I'm not buying retail property. I'm not going to buy something at 80 cents on the dollar. I'm not buying something to be a rental. I don't want fix and flips. I want primarily notes. And so I unsubscribe to their list. It's still great stuff, but it just doesn't fit me. So that's the thing you keep in mind there. Know what your audience is looking for, knowing and really segmenting your list up into smaller lists. Yes, one major list, but knowing how to segment or cut your list up a little bit. The price point of deal. Some people, like I say, I'm looking for non-performing at 50 cents on the dollar. Okay, great. Or I'm looking for stuff that'll return a 8% return on investment. Okay. And I'll ask the people, hey, do you mind? I come across deals. I'm glad to wholesale them to you. Do you buy wholesale deals? If I'm the only person in the deal, okay. If I'm direct to the seller, if it's something that we're buying on other notes in that same seller, we'll co-bid, and you mind paying a small wholesale fee? You mind buying a wholesale deal from me? Most people say, yeah, I'm glad to do that. There's plenty of meat on the bone. But asking that question, okay. And here's the thing too, what kind of ROI are they looking for? Are you looking for 0 to 6, 6 to 8, 8 to 12, 12 plus? Like I had an investor reach out to me, I got $150,000, I got $500,000. I want to invest. I want to make 15%. And I'm like, that's great. Good for you. He goes, what do you mean? I want to invest with you. I was like, I'm not going to pay you 15%, because if I'm going to pay you 15%, there's not going to leave a lot of meat in the bone for me or potential partners I'm dealing with. And if I'm going to pay 15%, you're going to need to be active. If you're not active, sayonara, buddy, because there's a lot cheaper deals out there, a lot cheaper money than your money. Okay. Then he got mad at me. I was like, that's tough, because I told you, no, not everybody is going to be a fit for your buyers list. That's okay. It's okay. It's okay to send an email out and then unsubscribe. Okay. Thank you. They're not a fit. Totally A-okay. How much money are they looking to invest? Now, here's the thing. You don't want to be wholesaling to another wholesaler. Okay. Because then they're going to try to squeeze the money out of it. Now, if it's your own deal, okay, great. But if you're direct to a seller, okay, you want to make sure that the people that you're sending your deals to, they're the buyers, not another wholesaler. Okay. You don't want the price to be 65% plus 3, plus 3, plus 3, plus 3. That's a daisy chain where you've got multiple people between you and the seller, or between you and the true buyer. Okay. That's a daisy chain. You don't want to do that. We'll talk more about that later on. But finding out, hey, how much are you looking to invest? That's not saying get a proof of funds on the front end. That's a big thing that we'll talk about later on. You don't need to ask for proof of funds on the front end when they're just looking at the deal. They want to make an offering, great. Then they need to provide proof of funds. If they want to get the full details, great. So, sign my NDA, my non-disclosure agreement. We'll go through that. And some things to put in the NDA or the NCND, okay, to protect yourself, okay? But like I said before, categorize your list, Figure out, hey, what are the top 3 states to invest in? If it's all Florida or Texas or whatever, that's fine. Texas, fine. Not a problem. Okay. Look, are they buying non-performing notes in specific states? Like Larry just posted in Note Nation. He's posted, hey, I buy in these specific states. That's great. Doesn't have to be their home. Like I live in Texas. People think I'm seeing deals in Texas. No, I actually don't buy much stuff in Texas. I buy it out of state for the most part. Okay. Like I'm looking for performing notes that I can make at least 8%. Great. Give me what you're looking for. 8% or greater. Awesome. Okay. Keep a mind out for you. Are they looking to invest or partner? Now, here's the thing. That's a question. Hey, are you looking for deals to fund on? Because if you're looking to make 6 or 8%, if I can bring a deal to you that you can fund that you'll make 6 to 8% for a short period of time, would you be interested? And the reason we bring this up is it plants a seed and it gets you in a habit of thinking about buying the deal yourself versus just wholesale. Okay. That's the thing. Are they looking to invest or partner with me on a deal? I had come across deals. I might looking for a partner. Would they be interested? Yes, sure. No, I just want to buy for myself. Okay, great. You got to really know what your buyers are looking for. Okay. Always ask for their cell phone number. Hey, what's your cell phone number? So I can send you a text because I get deals. I can add you to my hot list. Okay. Or I can send a deal out to you guys. I can send a deal out to my investors that are interested, and that way you get it as ASAP. I'll send an email as well, but I can send you a text message with a deal that comes in. I'm not going to blast you spam or stuff like that. Doesn't make sense. But I need your cell phone number. What's your best cell phone number? I can send you a text with some. Okay. And who's active, passive? Are you active investor or are you a passive investor? Have you bought a lot of deals in the last 24 months, or are you a brand new kind of investor? Those are important things to know about your list, because then it'll help you prioritize your list. If you get 3 offers and you see that somebody's made a lot of offers, they're pulling the trigger. If you see somebody that's brand new, they're probably not going to pull the trigger, and you don't want to just rely on them. Okay. And yeah, do you have anybody else that needs to be on my hot list? Okay. Anybody else that I should add? You have a business partner, you have an acquisitions manager, somebody that I need to add to my hot list, your spouse, your partner, husband, whatever it might be. That way that it doesn't go missed. All right. Now you have to realize this. Everyone is a buyer, a seller, or a funding source. Everybody, a buyer, a seller, a funding source. Every one of you is a buyer, a seller, or a funding source. The whole reason we teach classes is to build our buyers list, build our sellers list, build our funding source list. Okay. You have to start approaching your real estate business as if you're in the media business, that every email, every contact you have is worth something to you. Not only are they worth something as individuals, but they're also potentially deal flow for you, referral sources, money sources. Definitely everybody's a buyer. So one of the things to take a look at is, if you look at your email list, and take 20% of that. If you've got 1,000 people in your database, take 20%. Why 20%? Because that's probably all that's going to open your email the first time around, is around 20%. All right. Now, if you've got 1,000 people, I'm also a big believer that every person on the low end is worth at least $1,000 in private money. So if you have 1,000 people in your database, 1,000 times 1,000 is $1 million in potential private capital out there. Now, if you only get 20%, that means sending out an email once or twice, you really are only going to tap into 200 grand of that, but that's still better than nothing. And this is why the whole point of marketing on a regular basis is getting your list to open up to 20 to 25 to 30 to 35 to 40% open rates on your email database. And that's what we see. We see somewhere between a 35 and 45% open rate on our large email database, because we're constantly providing value. You've got a deal here or an asset here, a class or a webinar. We're providing some content. And for you guys and gals out there, you don't have to do anything as advanced as that, but doing something on a weekly basis, the deal of the week and the deal of the day. All right. My buddy Val Satir, who ran Watermark Exchange, Val did not own those assets he sold. Most of the time he had them under consignment. Most of them he had agreement with the seller. They gave him a list that he could sell on consignment. He knew what their lowest number was that they wanted to move the assets, and he would go out and sell them off at a higher price. He was wholesaling. Okay. Many of these websites are doing that out there. Many will just start, will be a listing, and they're getting paid $500 to facilitate a sale on each side or something like that. Like that's what PaperStack does. But Val, he would say, okay, I'm going to get things under contract at roughly 50 cents on the dollar. I'm going to sell them at 55 or 60 cents. And then he took the time and sent an email out to his database of his buyers. Hey, here's the deal of the day. Here's the deal of the day. We looked at and evaluated some things. If these websites out here like PaperStack or DebtX or Exchange.loans, were smart, they would identify what they have available on their listing platforms and send out an email. Hey, here's our deal of the day. Here's our highlighted deal of the day. And it becomes something that people look for. What's the deal of the day? What's the deal? What's that crack? You have the ability to do that, the deal of the week. Hey, here's a deal of the week that we found that we're working through, or deal of the week that we have under contract right now, looking to either buy it ourselves or flip it. Okay. But everyone's a buyer, a seller, or a funding source. The sooner you realize that, and the sooner when you get your business cards, the better it is. When I would travel, and I still do this today if I travel and I go to an event and I get business cards at, the first thing that I do before I go to, the last thing I do before I go to bed that night in the hotel, or as I'm flying home, on an airplane, one of the things I do is I pull up that list of business cards while I'm sitting there in the airport, and I'll either scan them into my database and then export it and then send an email to them. Or if it's just a few, I'll just pull up my Infusionsoft or Keep and type them in directly, tag them and say I met them. And then I send an email out to them. So, hey, just wanted to say it was great meeting with you, great talking with you. You got to get in that habit. How many of you go and get business cards, go to real clubs, and you've got them sitting there, you're not doing anything with them? This is why I say this is most of this. Everything falls into this bottom line. Everyone's a buyer, a seller, or a funding source. And building lists is one of the biggest things that you will be doing, not only now, but forever as an investor. If you're not building on your database and you just think you're going to buy for yourself, I'm sorry, you're mistaken. You are mistaken. You can no longer be a secret agent, man or woman, and not communicate, not work with people. I don't care what you think. Oh, I've got 500 grand of my own money. That's all we're going to use. That's all I need. That's great. That gives you an added up, but that $500,000 is actually, I hate to say this, it's paralyzing you. Oh, I got 100 grand. That's all I'm going to use. No, you're not going to use just 100 grand. That 100 grand actually is handcuffing your ability to embrace marketing. And that's one thing that you're going to be doing. If you're going to be in real estate now or for longer than just a day, you need to be marketing on a regular basis or building your database. It is what it is. And the most effective wholesalers have the best list. My buddy Brian Ellis, he's out of Atlanta. He's the director, owner of the self-directed IRA Investor Magazine, I believe. Something to do with self-directed IRAs. I can never remember right now. Coffee's not kicking in. But he started building a list by sending an email out to his database every Friday with 4 articles. Well, now he gets paid $25,000 to $50,000 in a day. What he does, if somebody has a deal they need funding for, they come to him. He does a webinar talking about that deal a week later after he pulls some information, and he raises hundreds of thousands of dollars for that project from his database because his database trusts him. And the investor that brings a deal to him, they're glad to pay him $25,000 to $50,000 because they know they're going to raise the capital during the day, and nobody raises capital like he does. And that's just because he's built his database. He's wholesaling deals over 10 years. Now, look, you can't go back in time 10 years, but what you can do is you can start doing these activities on a daily basis. So like I said, posting in Meetup, posting in LinkedIn groups, posting in Facebook, jumping on Bigger Pockets, going to your RIA clubs, going to conferences, and networking with people. Okay. Now there's tools that you can use to help grow your list, and these are pretty simple. I mentioned Excel, Google Docs. This is the simplest of the simpletest. Okay. If you are very tight on a budget, go to Google Docs and create you a Google document there where you can start saving things. You can access from anywhere. You got a computer, laptop, go to Excel and save it in Excel for you. All right. I'm not a fan of Google Docs for spreadsheets. I like Excel. It's the same thing. You can export it, but I like logging in Excel and being able to share it. Okay. And I can upload it, tweak it. I can go in there, edit, and take a look at it. And literally just a couple minutes, identify people in an area. Okay. Now, one of the things that we do on a regular basis is surveys. Okay. Soft surveys. Now, when we host our mid-year conference Note Camp in June, July, there's a survey that we send out to people. And about 30, 35, sometimes 40% of those attend will fill out the survey. All right. And the surveys, where you're located, what's your LinkedIn URL, what are your top 3 states, what do you like to invest in, what's your biggest strengths, weaknesses, how much in private capital do you have to work with, are you looking to partner with somebody, what's your website, how many deals have you done? That kind of stuff becomes very, very valuable. I mean, we've had, when you got 300 people filling out a survey and you got all that information, it helps you not only help them find deals, but to raise capital, also identify potential buyers for other deals out there. Comes in very, very handy. SurveyMonkey or JotForm, something like that, is another cheaper version, but it's something to use. You may want to send a survey out to your database. Hey, help us learn more about you. Or, hey, thanks for opting in to your database. Well, you have to realize for somebody to fill out a survey, you got to give them something. It might be your report. It might be a white pages, whatever. It might be something, a book. Hey, if you wouldn't mind, take a few minutes and answer just a couple questions. And what we try to keep it sweet. Many of you guys filled out an informal survey, whether you know it or not. When you're registered here for Zoom, we ask, hey, what are your city, state, and your cell phone number? That way, it makes it very easy. When I finish with today, I can pick up the phone if you have a question. I can literally go here and add you to my database and know roughly what city you're located in, what state, and then shoot you a message when we have something for you. JotForms, you can get people to opt in. Having a website where people can opt in, connect with you. Hey, get on our buyers list. Dickie Baldwin has something like that gets people opt in. All right. We talked about this already. Monday night, No Night in America. We've had 385 people register for it so far through the month of February in 2 months. It's pretty good. Everybody on that list, I know their first name, last name, email, their city, state, and then cell phone number. Okay. Now, somebody puts a fake cell phone number, they're really only harming themselves. I'm only doing that so that they want to be added on our buyers list. If we have something, it's to help them, not to sit there and market stuff to them over and over and over again. Okay. Keep.com. This is what we use. Some of you guys are familiar with like Constant Contact or MailChimp or whatever it might be. That's great. You got to use it. Now, like Constant Contact, MailChimp, they're not very friendly when it comes to real estate investors, especially if you're brand new. Keep's on their hands pretty good to work with. But the thing is like I tag people in my system where I met them. So if I go to the Austin Rank meeting and I met 12 people there, they've all got a classification of a couple tags. One, Austin Rank. Another one, 2, what would the other one be? Austin investors or Texas investors. Okay. Those are things to look at so that I can pull up go into my email and say, I got a deal in Florida. I'm going to go to my Florida investors list. 10,891 Florida investors that I can send an email to with a deal for them. Okay. Yes, I have a big database, but I've built this over time, one contact at a time, slowly but surely. Emails are not going away anytime soon. Okay. Easy texting. This is a pretty easy. I use SMS marketing, text message marketing to communicate. Some of you guys signed up from a text message yesterday we sent out. When we have a deal, like I'll give you a great example. A couple months ago, we had a deal that we were looking for some capital on. I needed $100,000 in a short period of time because the existing funder fell through. So what I do, I send a text message out with detail, specifics, and a photo. Guess what? 50 people responded looking to fund it, or they shared, I don't have a full 100, I got 50. That helps. That's a very powerful thing of having people's cell phone number. Yeah, did I have people that numbers were bad and people opting out? Yes, totally did. Okay. But it's still a hot buyers list. It's something to communicate. When you have a deal, you want to get it in front of their eyes. And whether it's going to be social media, which is where one place to go, a text message, which gets open 85% of the time is great, or an email that gets opened up about 20% of the time, are still 2 of your best effective resources. Posting to Facebook group where you might get a 1% open rate. LinkedIn, you'd probably see about 11% open rate. It's still better than Facebook. That's why you got to develop those resources. Now, if you have your own private list, your private group, that's a different story. Like Note Nation, a lot of people see that when we post something there and it gets views, which is good. Okay. Voice Blast. This is a service you guys can use. And what is Voice Blast? Well, this is where you upload a list of cell phone numbers to it and you pre-record a message. Some of you guys have gotten that from spam. I know we all hate that. I hate the solicitors, but what I like to do a lot of times is I'll send a voice blast. Hey, just want to say thank you for attending. Or, hey, just want to let you know I've got a new deal. Check your inbox. We got a new deal for you out there to take a look at. And I don't go into this long since you want your voice blast to be very, very short. And what a voice blast does, it sends it, automated through the computer here. You pre-record your phone. When you basically are able to log in on your phone by dialing a phone number. You leave a short message. You tag it 11111 is what I usually do. Then when you send it from your phone, you upload your list of cell phone numbers and then pick which message you want to go out. And then it looks like it's a missed phone call. It drops directly into the people's cell phone voicemail, which is really cool. And people say, oh, it's a missed phone call from this number. Well, you put your number down. Oh, I mean, I missed. And some people call me, hey, I just missed a phone call from you. Yeah, you did. Check your voicemail. But these are effective and cheap strategies. Keep.com. You can get for right now, if you're a student of ours, $49 a month for the first 3 months. And then it's like $99 afterwards. Cheap. Easy texting. I think $50 a month will get you 1,000 text messages to go out. If you got Keep, I think you do $250 and there's included with the package. Voice Blast is ridiculously cheap. An easy texting service can cost you, a few pennies per text. So these are tools to help you grow your list and help you be more effective. Octopus CRM for like $21 a month. This is a tool that works with LinkedIn, and you can literally go over and start creating a list of investors, investors in Georgia, Texas, or real estate investors, or note investors, or IRA investors. You can create all these lists with Octopus, and then send invites out to them automatically, and then also send a message out to those folks afterwards as well. It's become a very, 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 very effective marketing tool. Not only help grow our list, but also communicate with our list as well. Okay. But one of the most important things, and some of you are scared of this, is picking up the phone. Just picking the phone to call folks. Look, I get the voicemail blast. It's easy. It's easy. Some of you are working full time. You don't have time during the day. I get it. But don't be scared to call people. Hey, how are you doing? This is Scott Carson. Just wanted to call and say hi. I saw that you opted in, or that, hey, we connected. Just wanted to touch base with you. We didn't get a chance to talk a lot at the event. Would love to visit with you. And just, if you had a few minutes here, tell me about what you're looking to invest. What are you looking for? What kind of deals are you looking to do? If now's not a good time, if you want to grab coffee, you want to grab a drink sometime, whatever, grab lunch, grab breakfast, jump on a Zoom. What are you looking for? What kind of deals are you doing? Okay. What kind of deals do you do? Are you rentals, fix and flips, notes, whatever it might be? What types of deals do you do? And people will appreciate this because so many of us avoid the phone now, right? Texting is great. You can say, what type of deals do you do? That stuff you can send it. But a phone call is so personal, and it adds that extra value. I tell you, after the virtual workshop, we made a phone call to just about everybody that attended the virtual workshop. And I got more people like, oh my God, it's nice to have a phone call from somebody. It's nice to just communicate and share. People are always surprised that I answer my cell phone. Oh my God, Scott Carson. I'm like, I'm just a normal guy. Yeah, I answer my own cell phone. Sure. You got a question. You'd be surprised how little it rings a lot of times. Okay. I always like to ask, how long have you been investing? Tell me about your background. Okay. Using your own funds or OPM. That's an important thing you got to know. I don't care if somebody's going to buy the deal and they're using other people's money. I just want to know. Okay. If they're going to use other people's money, great. Then have they proofed up for you? Have they provided a proof of funds? Have they sent you a pledge letter to use? Okay. And the same thing. Hey, I come across deals that I'm not going to buy for my own portfolio, but I may tack on a wholesale or finder fee on there. Is that okay? Yeah, of course it's okay. I'm leaving plenty of meat on the bone. Okay. It's an important thing to have a conversation. I think in today's world, we are lacking this, and actually a lot of our Zoom and need to social distance has actually been very detrimental to us as investors. We get in the habit of it in our own head, and it's nice. You never know who you're going to talk to. I mean, couple of my favorite things throughout the week is Monday morning at noon Central, right at noon. I have a call with our WC and crew members. And I love hearing from them. Now it's usually me talking, and then I bring them on as they ask questions, but I love tapping into them and see what kind of wins they've had throughout the week. Monday night at 7 p.m., Note Night in America. One of my favorite things. Yes, it's a little bit sometimes busy with me putting a presentation together, but I still love seeing common faces. I love seeing people on there and tapping into it as people ask questions. That's great. And then just the phone calls throughout the week, 15, 20 minutes here and there with students. They're working through deals. Hey, what do you got going on? Or buyers or sellers. It's really a great thing of that communication. I actually really enjoy that. I am a people person. I don't like being inside. I like getting out and networking, but I also like working smarter. So it's great to pick up the phone. It's great to talk with people. And here's the thing. So many people get worried about, oh, you need to provide a proof of funds and a letter of intent, a letter of interest on the front end. And that is the surest and quickest way to piss people off. There's a guy who was going around. I booted him out of the Note Nation Facebook group because he was going on there. Oh, I've got deals, and then people were asking, I need to see proof of funds and a letter of intent beforehand. And I'm like, dude, you're not going to do that in the front end. People don't even know what the hell you have. So why are they going to share with you how much money they have? You don't need a LOI from people, letter intent. Just share what you got. If you got a deal, great. But the surest sign that somebody's a joker broker, somebody not to waste your time, if they ask immediately before you've even seen their list of deals, a proof of funds and an LOI. Do not do that. Okay. Now, yes, when somebody's making an offer, okay, great. You're making an offer. Hey, I want to make sure you've got proof of funds to close on this. Okay. Because I got multiple people bidding. I want to make sure the one that can close on this the fastest. So I need you to make sure you can proof up. I don't care if they say, hey, I got other people's money. That's great. Do you have a pledge letter? They know this. They know that is this going to be ready to roll? I'm not going to give you 30 days. I'm going to give you 2 weeks. Or you're buying a one-off deal from me. Hey, because if I may have to close from the seller in a month. I don't want to give them the same amount of time. I want to make it speed up so they've got 3 weeks to close, not a month. Okay. But don't start making people don't start making people paper up before you ever have a deal. That will just, it'll be a quick turn off. Nobody wants to give away what they have in a bank or funding until it's actually something valuable. Okay. And sure as hell, don't ask me that. Somebody asked me that. Well, I need you to proof up. Like, dude, I'm not going to sit here and proof up. If you're sending me a deal to take a look at, you're asking me to look at the deal. I'm not even filling out an NDA. Okay. Send me the information. I'm not going to go around you. If I need to sign an NDA at that point to go direct to the seller, I will gladly do it at that point. But if you're just sending me the details, I'm not going to sign an NDA. Especially I had a seller. He had it listed on a website, but it was his deal. It was his own deal. And he was like, I need you to sign an NDA. I'm like, Joe, this is your deal. I'm not going to sign an NDA. Okay. I've already got an NDA with that website. I'm talking to you directly right now. I'm not going to sign an NDA. It's your own deal. Like, don't be stupid. Pull your head out of your ass sometimes because people get so worried about the front end. Look, share the details. You don't have to share the address. We'll go into that in a little bit. Okay. So let's do this, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take a short little break. Okay. We'll get to all the paperwork throughout. Okay. We'll get to all the paperwork throughout here, Allison. Don't worry about it right now. Okay. All right, so let's do this. Let's do a 10-minute break, everybody. Let's get up, fresh cup of coffee, bio break, and we'll be back at 10 minutes to the hour. I see, right? It's at 40 past the hour. Been going for over an hour and a half. It's time for a little break. Make it a 10-minute break. We'll be right back. Okay. All right, everybody, let's get into the meat of the potatoes here of our Wholesaling Notes Masterclass here for you. Now, obviously, it starts with a buyer's list. We talked about that. You got to have somebody to reach out to, and it's pretty easy to make. But then the most important thing, like many people, is like, where the heck do you find these potential deals? Where do you find the stuff, Scott? How can I find deals? Okay. Well, here's the thing to look at. I'm going to share with you a couple strategies that we use that you can implement today. All right. You can literally start implementing today. All right. And this is you're going to crack up. There's no hidden sauce, hidden secret to this, because all the stuff that we share with you here is stuff that you can tap into at really no money, no investment out of pocket. You just got to roll the sleeves up a little bit and start marketing. Okay. And it's simple, and you're gonna be like, oh my God, why didn't I think of that? Okay. So let's first go through the PowerPoint here, then I'll jump on a couple websites to kind of walk you through some things. Okay. So finding wholesale deals, pretty simple. Where do you find deals? It's a lot of the same places that you would beforehand. Yes, you can call bank asset managers. And the way to wholesale a note from a bank is going to be different a little bit than how you wholesale from an investor like you and me. A little bit different, but yes, you can still find notes. We've wholesaled plenty of notes that we got under contract directly from the banks. We'll talk about the papering up the deal in a little bit. Okay. Not going to go through it right now. I just want to simply go through where to find these deals. Okay. Same thing, note sale websites. You can start looking at stuff right now. Actually, one thing we'll look at here. Okay. Other investors. Yes. Other investors. You and me may have a deal that you're looking to get rid of. Anybody have some notes on their portfolio that they're looking to sell? Right here. Anybody else? Oh, I got a couple notes, or I've bought a couple deals, or I've got some assets I want to get rid of, deals I've had to take back, REOs or vacant property. We all have got, usually if you're a buyer, a seller. If you're a buyer, you're also a seller as well. So, okay. Conferences. Hey, what do you have in your books? You'll often find some companies that they're selling. There's a couple that I would just avoid, like Revolve Capital Group. No offense, just a shit to work with. They're not going to sell anything at a discount. They overvalue their voice. Okay, just not worth even wasting time with Revolve. It's the only good thing about Revolve would be to look at their deals and start looking at understanding some stuff. But their stuff is way overpriced, and it needs to be less expensive because they're into it for stuff that they need to start dropping some of the prices. When you see where the same assets come around for the 6th month, they need to start dropping their price. Okay. Networking, that's kind of a duh, but you'll find stuff. Hey, do you have a deal? One of the things you can do is if you're going to your local REIAs and you see somebody get up there who has a deal that they're trying to move themselves, ask them, hey, I might have somebody be interested. Do you mind? Is there a way to make a wholesale fee on if I flip this to somebody else? I'm not trying to blast it, but I may have somebody that's very interested in it. Is that all right? Okay. We've talked about Facebook, LinkedIn groups. When somebody posts a deal, it's potentially opportunity for you there. We talked about bigger pockets. Where do you find deals? No, people post on there. Other wholesalers. Now, here's the thing. There's people out there that will send lists out all the time or deals out all the time. Some are good, some are bad. Some of them they want, when you start looking at the numbers, if they want 75 or 70%, anything above 70% of either the fair market value, if they owe more than the property's worth, or if it needs rehab, that's a pretty skinny deal. Now, if they're making a flat fee, like they're making $3,000 or $5,000, that's not bad. Okay. I'm happy they make $10,000, even if it's a higher priced asset in some cases. Totally fine with that. But you start getting above that point, it's hard if one wholesaler is adding $10,000 and then, or 3 points to the deal, and then you're trying to add $3,000 to the deal. Okay. Now, some wholesalers are clueless when it comes to, they're good at finding deals, but not good at marketing deals. So it may make sense. We've actually done some deals where we partner with wholesalers. Listen, why don't we partner on this deal? If I have a buyer and you've got the seller for this, why don't we partner deal and we'll split the commission? Because splitting something of 50% of something is great. If I bring in a buyer, let's split the commission if it's a skinny deal. Okay. So what do you say? Okay. You are always going to say, this is the most important thing. You are always buying for your own portfolio, especially when you're buying from a bank. Never ever mention, hey, I'm going to wholesale this deal. No, don't say that. Or I'm going to flip this deal. Never ever say that. Never even say I'm a broker. They don't want to deal with you if you're a broker. You're always buying for your own portfolio. Because look, the guys and gals with notes, You can always get out of a contract for a variety of reasons, due diligence, values, things like that, and not get penalized. It's different if you're buying a piece of property, you're going to contract, you got to put some earnest money up. But with notes, performing and non-performing, there's really no earnest money put up most of the time. Now, one of the things I may do from time to time is somebody's bringing us, well, great, to secure your bid, I need a $500 deposit. I've done that before because we had people that were making a lot of offers that wouldn't fall through on them. They were just throwing spaghetti against the wall. I'm like, no. If you're going to put 20 offers in, I need you to put a deposit up, and that $500 goes towards the purchase of one of those assets. If you're not serious about buying these, then that $500 is just a pain in the ass fee. It's a processing fee. Okay. But if you're going to buy something, we'll put that $500 towards that purchase price. So just to know that you're serious versus, if you slap them against the wall, some people won't do that. Okay. Here's the number one question. And this always amazes me when people call me with deals. Hey, I got a deal, or I got a tape, or I got a spreadsheet. Okay, great. What's the pricing? I don't know. Well, that doesn't help me. What are you going to buy these at? I don't know. Then it doesn't make any sense to waste any time on due diligence until you know the pricing. I hate this. It aggravates the crap out of me. Whether you're buying one deal or 100 deals or 300 deals, get pricing. What's the price point? Hey, I got a commercial deal. Okay, what's the price point? What do they want for it? Well, I don't know. Well, I'll partner. I'm glad to partner where they help you move stuff, but I got to know pricing point. Otherwise, I'm not going to waste my time. If they want 90 cents on the dollar for a performing note, it doesn't make any sense. Okay. And that's the frustrating thing, especially if you're dealing with note sellers. Like some of these companies are sending out spreadsheets or tapes, as we call it in the business here, and they're not giving you pricing points. They're saying, here, make your highest and best. Well, give me some pricing. Let me know so I know I'm either on the ball or I'm not off the ball. I don't want to waste my time submitting an offer and going from there. All right. Now, here's a good question. If they send you a list, and this is, hey, and you, like with a bank, you'll sign a non-disclosure agreement where you'll have like I have a conversation with asset manager. Like, listen, they send me an asset. Said, well, it's not it doesn't fit my portfolio, but I may have somebody who's a trusted friend, trusted colleague who may be interested. Do you mind if I share it with them? Okay. Now, if you signed an NDA with a bank, they may make you want to have that buyer sign an NDA. And what I say is, listen, yeah, I've already signed an NDA. They've already signed an NDA with me. They're trusted. They're not blasting out their buying it for as well. Any compensation will be handled by them, not by you guys. Okay, great. That's fine. If you've got a buyer and they've got a distressed asset or an asset they want to get moved off the books, it can be very possible. But you're always buying for your own portfolio. Oh, this deal doesn't quite fit with my portfolio, but I may have somebody. Do you mind if I share the details? You ask, it's good. All right, if you share the details with them and that person goes out and blasts it and they see it, you're going to get blacklisted. Don't do that, okay? Now, if they send you a spreadsheet, here's another thing. Can I cherry pick or provide loan level pricing? Now, what does that mean? So, like, I'll give you a great example. Loan level pricing means, let's say you're making 10 offers. You want to have an individual bid for each asset, not one bid for all 10. That's all in. Okay. But individual bids, loan level pricing means you can cherry pick. I mean, by cherry picking, you can purchase one, purchase two, purchase 100, whatever it might be. If they say they want an all-in bid, okay, they want you to buy it all. Okay. But if it's a loan level pricing, they're basically going to try to find the highest and best from each asset. I don't like that so much, especially when you get lists from like SN Servicing and stuff like that, with no pricing specifications. You kind of go with the highest and best, and it gets aggravating because you're trying to buy in bulk. Especially when you're trying, like me, to buy a big portfolio. That's okay, but ask them, can I cherry pick this or provide loan level or provide a loan level pricing? Is it an all-in bid? Do I have to take them all? And most of the time, no, you don't take it all. It's loan level pricing. Okay, great. But if they say it is an all-in bid, that means you're buying it all. That means you have to start ranking these portfolios: good, the decent, and the ugly. All right. And oftentimes the ugly have zero value, but as far as that zero value, it means zero value to the seller. They want to get it off their books. I'll give you a great example. We're working with a fund yesterday. He had 3 notes left on his fund. 2 are performing. 2 have been performing for a long time. A third one has not been performing, but it's not the most desirable property in Pittsburgh. It's worth maybe $28,000, $30,000. Does have a borrower in it, but he's like, look, let me get these off my portfolio. I'm just tired. The last 3 notes. I'm not really wasting my time on this anymore. I'll sell you the 2 at 50 cents on the dollar. They're performing. I'm like, performing notes at 50 cents on the dollar, we'll take them. And then get rid. If you buy these 2, you got to take this 3rd one. I don't want to deal with this 1/3. Like, no problem. So we'll write the contract up where we're paying $1 for that 3rd one. He's like, I don't care, whatever you got to do. Okay. Well, the idea here is, okay, you will take those 3. It's all in for all 3 of them, but we're not going to pay anything really for that 3rd one. It has 0 value to us. Okay. Now you may, when you're looking at asset managers and talking with people out there, they may, especially when a tape gets sent out and you see the same tape and it dwindles down, maybe 100 1 month, next month, it may be 100, 100, or 1 month it's maybe 150, 1 month, 2nd month is 100, 3rd month it's maybe 50. That might be the bottom of the barrel. That's the dregs, the tail end of the trade. Most sellers are very, very motivated to sell that tail at a huge discount or near to nothing. Okay. And the question you want to ask is, okay, how long do I have to close? If I'm buying 1 note, they're probably going to want you to close 2 weeks, especially if they have provided an O&E, a title update, or a broker price opinion for valuation. A lot of these funds that are in the buying and selling thing, they'll provide BPOs and O&Es because they want you to close faster. If they have not provided that, then you're going out and doing your due diligence. You'll have longer to close. So, a week or 2 for due diligence, and then a week to 2 weeks to close after that. Depending on how close the property is to you, or how rural it is, or where it's located, that'll vary. But how long do I have to close? Now, if you're dealing directly with a bank, a true bank, you should have 30, 45, 60 days to close. It's pretty normal with them, especially if it's a portfolio. You may have longer than that. We had 180 days to close on a big portfolio from a fund back a few years ago. They gave us 6 months to close, and then they also gave us 6 months a 6-month clawback. So if we closed on this portfolio, we had 6 months to help sort the due diligence out, and we found something was bad and stuff like that. We could actually swap it out with a new asset. It was just it was a lower value pool, but we made a lot of money on it. Okay, how long do I have to close is one of the most important things you can ask, because I'm going to ask, what's the pricing? Is it all in or cherry pick? And how long do I have to close? Okay. And then I always like to ask, what's on this list that you really need to move? What's the stuff that you have anything that you really need to get off your books? Ugly assets. Okay. What do you have on your books that you really need to move? We got some folks or some stuff that I can throw in some IRAs that if it's ugly opportunities, we can do some things with it, are not your traditional resource, not your traditional exit strategies. Okay. And you'll never know. You'll be surprised. Oh yeah, we got a seller who's very motivated. They like this asset, but they're very motivated to move 6 other deals or 7 other deals. You get what I'm saying? Oh, what happened there? Something happened in my video. So that's the thing is what do you really need to move? Why are you selling? What do you really need to move? What's the story on these assets? That's the question. What's the story on these assets? Okay. And sometimes if you can see, like on some of these listing websites, you see that this asset's been on there for 6 months or 12 months. That tells you the motivation right there. Like, oh, hey, they really do need to sell this stuff because it's been listed there, and they're probably not working it. They're probably distracted now. That asset is either performing or not performing, is getting worse because they're not following up with it. Okay. True story. I helped a student of mine buy a note that was supposed to be non-performing, bought it at a big discount. We even got it down a little bit cheaper because the guy was motivated to move it before the end of the month. So we said, we can close in 2 weeks. Can we get a $2,000 discount? And he's like, yeah, sure. If you can close 2 weeks, let's get it done, sold, and get it off my books. Well, he just wasn't doing anything. His servicing company wasn't doing shit. Okay. If you've got NAA, all right, NAA as a servicer or FCI as a servicer, they're probably not doing shit for you. Okay. And if I see that an asset is with a company like that, it's either going to be performing or non-performing. It's not performing, they're not doing anything. FCI is not going to lift a finger in most cases. They're just, anyway. And most people have one note and they don't continue to buy notes. They're not, at some point, they're just going to chase another shiny object syndrome. Those can be very motivated deals because now they're paying monthly on the servicing. It's non-performing. Now they've got money going out the door each month. And this is also important with funds. Okay. If they've got a portfolio trying to sell and they got these non-performing stuff, this lower value stuff, hey, I'll buy this good asset, but I want you to throw 3 or 4 of these cheap ones in for free. Why would you want to throw them in for free? Well, you could probably wholesale them at $500 to $5,000 to somebody who's a local investor, specifically the area that doesn't mind dealing with distressed assets. Okay. We'll talk about more on that as well. Okay. So like I said, look for old tapes or stale lists. Assets have been listed for at least 6+ months. So they've been listed for a while. Tapes that have been offered over 90 days ago. Tapes that you got 90 days ago from sources. Guess what? Go back. Follow back up. Hey, did you sell those assets? Did you sell them? Were they sold? Did they close? Those are great resources. Many of them, many investors, including a lot of you guys, have never done that. You get one tape and that's all you focus on. You don't go back to the stuff that you got 60, 90 days ago to see who bought those assets or if they're still around. Okay. And then as you get to the end of the year, at the end of the first quarter, more trades will happen and more sellers, banks, hedge funds, note sellers are motivated to get the stuff off their books. And that's why we're teaching this class as we do it right here, the first part of March, so that you can make some things happen before the end of Q1 2022. Okay. That's why we picked this date to do it. You've got 3 weeks. You guys can all be closing on deals in the next 3 weeks. And honestly, these sellers are much more motivated on the unsold assets. If they haven't sold them or they had a portfolio, they're much more motivated to get a move now. And for somebody to come in who's not only going to buy an asset or two, but maybe buy 5. Yeah, these 3, sure, we're paying $90 a month service. We're paying $30 a month servicing for them just to sit here, and now we're responsible for them. Yeah, if we can give these 5 away, it saves us $150 a month, even if it's not, if it's March, okay? But you'll get better pricing on unsold stuff. They'll be much more motivated, especially on the non-bank sellers. They're not non-institution. And don't get me wrong, non-institution may be very motivated. I've seen that happen too. But your non-bank, your institutional buyers, your REITs, your portfolio lenders that aren't banks, your investors like you and me are much more motivated if something's sitting on their books for 90 days, okay? And that gives you, ladies and gentlemen, the opportunity. If you get a list in, what do you think you do next? You get your list in, you go to your buyer's list. Okay, who can I match up with? How can I be the Chuck Woolery? How can I be the love connection of dirty paper? And that was one of the titles that Investors Business Daily and the Wall Street Journal gave me. I was called the love connection of ugly paper back in the day, back in 2007, 2008, when I first, because that's what I would do. I would get these ugly lists in, and I would find my buyers, lots of people I knew that I networked from networking for a couple of years, and I would put them together. Like, hey, I got a deal that I can negotiate here. And if you're having a hard time, guess what? Go find, if you get a list in, go jump on the county records and look at assignment of mortgage to see where they come from. Okay. It'll tell you who signs off on the assignment or signs off on the quitclaim deed if it's a contract for deed. Look to see who they bought it from, or look to see who else they sold to. Okay. Look at that spreadsheet. You got the old spreadsheet from 90 days ago. I'll give you a great example. Somebody sent me a list of, or had note score. Colonial Funding has a list of stuff, right? Well, you know what you should do is go on there and look at the assignments. Like, I know that there was 80 notes that 80 Speed had available that he was trying to sell at different price points. And I found out that he'd bought them from Carrington Mortgage. So we reached out and got a hold of Carrington Mortgage directly. Now they want to trade of $1 million, and that's fine. I could put $1 million together to buy a portfolio of assets and go from there. But I also see that they probably have other stuff on their books that they're wanting to get rid of, ugly stuff that Carrington has and really distressed stuff. And I'll just go find local investors to take those deals over and carve myself out. Okay. But track with the original owner. And this is one thing that's led from not just one deal, but led to 7 deals. It's led from 1 deal to 100 deals. Okay. This last 2 weeks ago, Larry Hoffman on here. He's on here. He found 1 note on a tape. We jumped on the county records to try to track it down because we saw that it had been listed on a website for over 6 months. Okay. And we jumped on there and we saw that the note had been sold 3 or 4 times. It was a non-performing, but it was near where Larry lived. So we jumped on there, and guess what? We found 3 companies that had bought that note all within a matter of like a week. It had been bought and sold and bought and sold, bought and sold. And AOM is an assignment of mortgage, Fred. Thank you for asking that question. AOM is an assignment of mortgage. That's what transfers ownership. Okay. So this one note had 3 assignments. Okay. That had been filed like in a week. So somebody had bought it, sold it, and that person had bought and sold it, and that person has sold it. So there's 3 assignments that all got filed on the same day. Like, oh, somebody wholesaled this deal. So we found the last person on the assignment chain who was now the most recent lender. Well, what do? We reach out to him. Say, hey, I saw that you've got this note on your portfolio. It looks like it's been listed for sale for 6 months. Are you interested in sell it? Do you have anything else? And that one little thing, do you have anything else? Is yes, they're interested in selling. Oh, yes, the seller of this, our investor who has this, because it was a company was managing, has others they're wanting to. Yes, he'd be glad to sell all 6 or 7 of these at once and give you and literally out of her mouth was would get you a much better discount by buying all 7 of them. So what do? Let's make an offer on all 7 of them. And they were so motivated to sell them. We had an approval back in less than like 3 hours on our lowball bid. So it was, and Larry says, yes, it was absolutely amazing watching it work, but that's exactly what we did. We looked at this old list, this old asset. Who was a seller or who was the owner of it now? We reached out to them. What else do you have? It was an older list. We saw that it had been listed on this website for 6 months. And it was, it's turned into a $242,000 trade for Larry. He's buying 6, 7 assets from this one seller, which one was there. And many people had given up on this asset. All right. Nobody had looked at it. And that's what I'm saying, guys. If you're looking at these spreadsheets, these tapes, these are great places for you to go because we do the same thing. Okay. You can track who the owner of it is now. If you liked an asset, track who owns it now, or track who the buyer was. Now, in some cases, we'll make offers on tapes that come in, and then what happens, our bids get declined because maybe a larger buyer came and bought a bigger chunk of the tape. They bought 50, 60 assets, bought the whole thing. And that's fine. What we do is like, okay, that's fine. We understand that. Can you mind forwarding our bids to the whole buyer so we can at least touch base with them? Maybe they'll accept our bids for those 2 assets, or they have other stuff that they're looking to get rid of, right? Okay. What do you have with any hair on it? What are the stuff that's always got to be asking us? Okay. Now, let me go back here and share this screen here. New share here. Give you a bit of an example. So if we go over to PaperStack, I'll give you a great example here. Paperstack.com. Okay. We logged in, and some of you guys won't even do this. It's sad. So we went in, pulled the whole list here. We said, okay, we're looking for listing a single asset or asset pool. We're looking for all. Lien position, first liens is what we want. We're not going to waste our time with seconds. We're looking for performing or non-performing. Don't care if it's mortgage, contract for deeds, or deed of trust. It's totally fine. Now, if you register with PaperStack, guess what? When they ask you a question, are you wholesaling? Say no. Okay. Say no to it. Because if you say no, they'll allow you to download and export the whole CSV. So export the CSV right there. So we'll export it real fast. And it's being downloaded here. The guys at PaperStack should pay me. Give it a second here. Now, there's stuff on PaperStack that's just been sitting around for a while. Okay. Come on. Is that it? No, that's not it. Hang on. Try one more time. There we go. Now it's probably going to download twice now. All right. So what you can do, everybody, is it'll give you this list. Now let me share my screen because it's gone from a download to Excel. And you know what I do? I go over here. All right. Let me clean this up a little bit. And I'm going to filter it right off the bat. I filter, I'm going to sort it. All right. And then I'm going to go over here and I'm going to go pick the negotiation type. Okay. I'm not going to look at firms. I'm going to look at flexible and make an offer. Okay. Flexible means they're willing to take a variety of things, or make an offer means just make something. If they say firm, it's not worth me wasting my time. Okay. Now there's also a lot of times on here. Look at here. Often can be a date on here when this thing was listed. Okay. If it's been listed for a while, that's more motivation for them to look at selling. Okay. So just give me a second, trying to find out where that list is on here. Property value date, vacant. CB, you learned something new from me. Just got to know where to look. Got to play around with it. Okay. So it doesn't, oh, here we go. The list date right there in my freaking face, column C. Okay. So what they did is they went back and put a new list date for February because I guess somebody told them because there was stuff that was showing 6 months ago. So what do? I'm going to do flexible to find the most amount. And then I'm going to also go on over here and then I'm going to custom sort it by the seller. Just do A to Z. And that's, I'm going to reach out to these. So like Bandit Capital, Boston Note Company. They got some flexible stuff on here. Boston Note Company's got a bunch of stuff on here. Some contract for deed, CC Capital, Equity and Help. That's got a bunch of junk. MWM Fund. That's all the paper stack guy stuff. Note resolutions. Okay. But if they say make an offer and they especially don't have a value on here, all right, then you start seeing 2-4 early. This is already over a month old. Then those are going to be the ones that I reach 1,000 keys, 1,000. Like these were just listed this last week. I don't know. It might be something to take a look at. They might not be as motivated, but here you go. That's what you do. And then what do? You come over here and look at, okay, these are, what do they have? Let's go over here. If you like specific states, let's pick up one here real fast. Let's just say, I know that somebody's got some stuff on here from loan. We'll just say note resolutions. Mahir Rahim. Okay. This stuff has been on here for a long time. Actually, it's not just 2-4, 2-3, but he's actually owned it. And make an offer for sale, low UPBs on these. These are firstly non-performing. And let's look. Okay, where are these located at? Okay. He's got 4 in Pittsburgh. You know what? That's an opportunity there. If you're looking to wholesale, because they're vacant, non-performing notes, low values on some of the stuff, low balances. He would probably sell these pretty cheap. Okay. Those are vacant. He'd probably let those go really cheap. And if he basically 1, 2, 3, 4 assets, you could potentially get them under contract at low prices to move them off his portfolio. And then what do? You go over here to the Pittsburgh real estate group and Facebook and say, hey, I've got some assets available for sale, low balance stuff. Want to make an offer. Okay. Get them under, ask what he's looking for, put it under contract, and they go market, say, hey, I've got some assets. Put your pictures. Don't put the street addresses. All right, but I've got 4 properties in Pittsburgh. Here's some screenshots. If you're interested, let me know. And then we'll go from there. Okay. Column C. Yep. Thanks, Mike. But that's what you do. That's right there. The first thing you can do on PaperStack. Go and look at the stuff that's been around there for the longest. Okay. Simple things you can do. And let's look at, same thing. Like there's this one. And anytime you can buy multiple assets from one seller, it's going to be more valuable to you. So if you say, listen, hey, what I would do, where did I go here? Okay. I would reach out. Hey, Nahir, what do you want? What's your bottom offer on this low value stuff? Okay. Now this one is in Detroit. It's probably a nicer property. This one in Pontiac is probably not a bad property, but they're not making payments. They're low balance. He bought stuff there. So he probably bought them as a bulk portfolio. Okay, great. What do you want? What do you want for these to get these off your portfolio? I'm sure you're motivated to move these because they're vacant. They're not performing. What you want? What's your low price on this stuff to take the whole thing off your hands? Okay. Give me your loan level price so you know how to secure it. And then you know what you guys do? You go to your lists. You go to your people. Hey, I got 4 in Pittsburgh. That's what I would do, because then I would reach out to a local realtor there. Say, hey, I've got 4 properties in Pittsburgh. Or I would go to the local RIA. Hey, I've got 4 properties in Pittsburgh. Here's the 4 photos of them, street views. If you're interested in getting more information, reach out to me. We can get these really, really cheap. And that's what I would do. Just, you've got your grocery list here. Now go find people that are buying in those neck of the woods. If you don't have them on your list, then go to the Facebook groups, the LinkedIn, and start connecting with people. Does that make sense, everybody? Was that just already an aha moment for some of you? Yes, no? Good. Thanks, Bill. Okay. Yep. B. Good. All right. Now, look, if you make $1,000 on this low balance stuff, that's $1,000 more than you did. You could probably put these under an option for $10 Because if you don't sell them, then great, you're not out. But anything you do sell could go, you make a phenomenal return on option fee. We'll talk about options at the very end here, but it's basically putting it under contract at a pre-approved price, and then just, like a 30-day option. Hey, I got 30 days to go to work. If after 30 days I can't sell them, hey, you can sell them and go from there. Okay. So good. Jamal, good stuff. Jack, yes. RJ, Larry Hoffman, gold. All right. So that's like one thing there. There's another website out there that you can take a look at. If we go to Direct Source, my buddy John Keefe over there. All right. He's got stuff available for sale in a lot of cases. So he's got REOs, he's got NPLs, all sorts of stuff there. What will the realtor do, Allison? Great question. The realtor probably has a list of buyers, and she'll make a commission off of selling the assets, and they need some work. Hey, she's got her hot list. Like if I got anything in Jacksonville, I take back. I call my realtor in Jacksonville and say, listen, I've got an asset I'm foreclosing on. Do you have a buyer for it? And she's like, oh yeah, I'll make my commission on the buy side. It's marginal, it's low value. I'll give her $500 or something like that, but she'll make her commission because she has her buyers that she wants to keep happy. Okay. You can own a note in a land trust. I do not recommend it, Jason. Okay. It's more of a pain in the ass than it's worthwhile. You need to be using LLCs when you're buying notes. Okay. Land trusts, you can create them. Yeah. But then to sell them or foreclose, it's just a big pain in the ass. It's not worth it. Land trusts are just a pain in the ass. Okay. All right. Done. So you can do the same thing over here. I mean, now John has these usually on consignment, or he's got them under contract from somebody else to sell. Okay. So you be careful. You don't want to burn a bridge. So if you look at the NPLs on here that he's got, you can filter the list. He's got 305 non-performing. So log in here. But it's the same exact thing. Oh, come on. I've been buying from him for years. John's a good guy, but he may have a lot of stuff on his books he's looking good at. Whatever. So it's the same thing here. Log on, take a look at what they have, and say, hey, what are you motivated to sell? And then go to work. Go find out what they're looking for. A lot of the stuff is lower valued stuff, but still lower value. There's a lot of people that like the lower valued stuff. So maybe you're not making 100 grand, but maybe you're making 5 grand. Maybe you're making 2 grand. Maybe you're making $1 grand for just basically putting people together, negotiating a price, and then finding a buyer that wants to pay that price and something that makes sense. Okay. So basically the website's directsourcere.com. Okay. Let me try it again here. Let's try. His website might be acting goofy here. Let's try it one more time here. Come on. It's acting goofy. But anyway, it's the same thing. You could do this over on, oops, not that. There, let's see here. Besides, I mean, these are the 2 easiest places for you to take a look at right there. Okay. Look at what they have Paper Stack. Look what they have on Direct Source. I mean, there's a lot of low balance stuff there. You could go over to Watermark Exchange. Same thing. I don't think Val's updated this in a little bit. You do the same. Here's the thing. You could also do the same thing on JKP Holdings. He's got some stuff out there and stuff's been sitting around for a long time. See who the owner is. Go to the assignments and see who the owner is and start reaching out. That's the most important thing, ladies and gentlemen. There's stuff sitting out there. You just got to go find it. A lot of people won't even waste their time looking at it or don't know that you get down the list because they haven't logged in a long time. Okay. That's one of the most beautiful things that you can do to help you out and make things happen. And look at, let me give you another example. Okay, here you go. Let me pull this up here. So like SN Servicing sent out a tape a few months back of 903 assets. They sent like, I don't know. Let me pull it up here. Give me a second here. Boom, boom, boom. Now, they originally sold a big chunk of this out, right? They sold a chunk of this off, got offers. There we go. Is this the right one? This one, is it? And some of you saw me work through this list in the virtual workshop. Okay, so new share spreadsheet. So, you know, they had 903 assets on it. We made a bunch of offers. Okay. I'm going back and looking to see who beat my bids. Okay. Going back to see who beat my bids. And this came out, if I look at this spreadsheet, this came out, November of last year. So it's an ideal spreadsheet for me to work on by looking, okay, who beat my bids? Did they close on the deal? Who was the seller of this tape that I can go back to directly to see if they have? Now I know who the seller is because I won some bids. I can go back and say, hey, what do you have in your portfolio that you're looking to get rid of? What are your ugly assets? 903, I guarantee they didn't sell them all. I know they didn't sell them all because I've seen the other assets come out in a smaller tape, but that's okay. What did you not sell? Then also anybody that beat my bid and funded is a potential buying source because they hopefully have other assets. So that's the thing about leveraging these tapes and leveraging the websites. They're literally deals already for you to take a look at. You just got to look at the ones that they're, hey, flexible, and they want to make an offer. Now you can make offers for your own tape, but also, hey, what do you have here? What do you have available here? Maybe you send, now I wouldn't send that whole spreadsheet. That's the biggest kiss of death you have. But look, talk to your investors. Hey, I'm buying assets in Detroit. Okay. What are you looking for? Well, I'm looking for something that I can, that'll rent for $800 a month that I can pick up at a pretty cheap price. If I can do my buying and rehab for 25 grand total, I'll look at crappy assets. Okay, great. Let me see. UPB's 13. I can buy it at 5. Okay, great. Foreclosure, if it takes 5 grand, we're in at 10. It's somebody's living in it, so the rehab will be less than 25. Hey, here's an asset for you to buy. Are you interested? Buy it for me at 10, and we'll get rock and roll. You can evict in 90 days because it's a contract for deed. Okay, so that's really where you start diving into. Yes, you got to build your list. Some of you are already, well, I'm gonna go find deals. Okay, come back to earth here, everybody. Come back and spend a little time with me, because that's the thing to take a look at. And you can start building up your systems that way. Okay, what do I look at? How do I evaluate it? And how do I go from there? Scott asked a question here online, because where do you see the AOM history? You've got to go to the county clerk, the county recorder's office, and search by that property address or the seller. And you look at the assignment, you try to the property address and the assignment of mortgage. Okay, if you know the seller's name of the fund, you can search in that county for that asset by looking for that seller as the grantee or the grantor. Okay, the mortgagee or the assignor or the signee on the assignment of mortgage. So that's where you get it. So if Scott says brilliant, exactly right. But that's, you don't have to go to a real estate club. Literally, guys and gals, we just showed you, what was that, 100 some odd assets there for you in one little quick swoop. Before you have 5, 10, 20. Look, I mean, the first deal I made, paid $500 on my credit card in a Detroit asset, and I flipped it for $1,500 for the scrap. Somebody was going to buy it for me for the scrap mill. They didn't care. They went through it. Okay. Yeah. So one of the great resources is going in here. Let's look at something here for you. Let's pull this up, because this is another source for you. We go to Netra Online, netronline.com. Let me share my screen. All right. So if you go to access, not aerials, we want to look at public records online, access public records online. It'll then take you over here to your states and pick a state. Okay, so let's do this. Let's go. Heck, let's people love. Let's do this. Let's go to Ohio. And let's look here. Let's look at, let's say Franklin County or Hamilton County. Hamilton County. Now that's going to blow your mind as well. Now, there's a lot of contract for deed sold in Hamilton County. And with a contract for deed, basically, the fund took back a bunch of small balance REOs. The owner financed them on land contracts or contract for deeds, but there was one primary seller. Okay. Now, if we go on here to the recorder's office and click on the recorder, we can look for contract for deeds by doing a deed search. And all right, here we go. So let's just do corporation name. And we're going to look at the Harbor portfolio. It's auto-populated before. And we're going to do the start date. Let's do from, let's go, not 2015. We'll go back to 2010. So January 1st. Okay, so the end date of today. And hit search. And this is going to be a deed search. Because in a contract for deed, a quitclaim deed is what's transferred, not a note deal. So we're just going to hit search. And now look at this. We found 49, 44, 20. So let's just click on this one first, because they have a whole bunch of different accounts. Actually, let's just click on them all. Hit view selected. All right. So you can see here, all these assets a Harbor Portfolio Fund bought and sold. So they sold it like here, Harbor Portfolio EH pooled 412 LP. This was done 2012. It may not be around anymore. So we'll click on that. Let's look at the deed here real fast. All right, Fannie Mae, aka Federal National for Harbor Portfolio. So they may have bought this one. Actually, yeah. So we'll go back here. We don't want to look at that one. Back. Let's go something a little bit. So 2012. Let's go up a little bit. Let's go back here. Here we go. 2015. All right, back here. Here's a good one. Harbor Portfolio VLP to Park Street Group LLC. Let's click on that one. Let's look at the doc. Click on here. And now we're looking at the doc here. Now we can see, look at right here. Boom, shakalaka. Kayla McLaughlin, who is National Asset Advisors. That's the servicing company, which sucked. Okay, they still aren't very good. Park Street Group LLC, 100 West Long Lake Road, Suite 112, Bloomfield Hills, Michigan. The grantor was Harbor Portfolio, and the grantees Park Street Group LLC. Okay, they bought this stuff. Okay. Harbor to Park Street Group LLC. So what do you do? Let's go over and look at Park Street Group. Michigan right there. There you go. Previous investors, but this, oh, it's dissolved. Okay, they're no longer in business. Dissolution date was January 2018. This is actually an opportunity. Why? Because they probably have some stuff on their books they may want to get rid of, or they may have moved it to another entity. But there you go. What would you do? I would call Paul L9 the agent for this, okay? Or I would do a backward search to see if there's a company, Paul L9. Okay, see there's more information on Paul 9. Okay. He's with Spruce. He may be a bunch of agents for other things, but that's okay. He would know who to talk to. That's just one source there. But if this company bought some notes from back over your Harbor portfolio. They bought 1, 2, 3, or 2 right there. Okay. Or here's another one. If we go back here, new share, go back to this sharing aspect of this. There, Headland Asset Management Group. They bought a couple. Let's look at the image here. Quit claim deed. There you go. Headlands Asset Management Group have an address of 1401 Los Gamos Drive, San Rafael, California. There you go. Now, the idea isn't to get this one asset they're talking about, but the idea is that you have somebody who's an investor like you and me, who's bought some assets and probably has bought more than one asset, especially if they're out of California. They're buying probably a variety of assets. So let's do Headlands Asset Management Fund. Here we go. Jump over on LinkedIn and see if you can find that company. Headlands Asset Management. Petaluma, California. Okay, see all 26 employees on LinkedIn. That's probably a good sign. They're pretty good fun. And there you go. Look at this here. Chairman Headlands. Transaction Manager, Michael Nako. Okay. Loss Mitigation Manager, Mark Goldberg. Let's look down and see a Transaction Manager, Analyst at Headlands Asset Manager. Liam, he's out of New York. So they've worked in a couple of places. There you go. Hoboken, New Jersey. San Rafael, California. Diane Betts. Wasn't that what we were looking at there for, right? Let me go back over here. San Rafael, 1401 Los Gamos Drive, San Rafael, California. Yes. Go back over here. You can see it right there. San Rafael, California. Let's go back here and go back to LinkedIn. San Rafael, there you go. Let's click on her. She only has 81 connections, so she's probably not on LinkedIn a lot, but let's see if we can't find more information. Contact information, and then it's just her profile. So there you go, Headlands Asset Management LLC. There you go, pick up the phone and give them a phone call. So, or Stephen Buffano, looks like Stephen's more active here. She, a CFO at Headlands Management Group. Yeah, all right, I'll connect. And I'll add a note. Hey, Stephen. I saw that Headlands bought some CFDs from Harbor portfolio back in the day. I wanted to see if you all had anything on your books that you are looking to get rid of, as we are looking for performing NPN for portfolio. You probably can't see it. Let me just share. Yep, you can see my screen. Okay, good. And as easy as that. Boom. Those are the things that you can do there to make things happen. Okay. Now, the bigger counties, you may want to do a search there. So let's do another search. What do you say? Should we do another search? It says Harbor portfolio. Okay. Let's look in here for everything. Let's do another search. Select parties. Let's hit search here. And let's change it to a corporation name. Let's look for, let's not do Harbor portfolio. Let's do Granite Loan. Now this would be an assignment because Granite wasn't selling a lot of contract for deeds. So let's, come on. All right, assignment. So here we go. Assignment right there. So AM, assignment of mortgage. Same thing. Let's hit search. There you go. So let's select them all. So a true first performing non-deed is not a deed that transfers to an assignment of mortgage. There we go. Look at this. Gemini Capital Managers. That's my buddy Jack Krupe. Gemini Capital Managers no longer around. So he bought this back in 2011. Okay. Alliance Realty Capital. There's another company to reach out to. That's 2012. They may not be in business anymore. Okay. Understand that some of the, Grant's no longer in business, but you can see some of these companies in Cincinnati: Orsis Capital, Sequoia Financial Solutions, Stratham Company. All right. These are potential deals for you to take a look at, and you never know what you're going to find. All right, let's just click on this Stratham Company. Let's look at this and see what their website is. They're out of Irvine, Stratham Company, out of Irvine, California. So let's do a Stratham Company. Okay. Oh, sorry, here. You can see the screen. So you see that Stratham Company there. You can see Jeff Merrick. If you were looking for somebody at Grant, Jeff was the vice president. Okay. Claudia Newcomer was the notary. She also worked there. Unfortunately, she's passed away suddenly. And Jeff's no longer around doing some other things. So then we go Stratham Company at Irvine, California. So let's go back here to our Outlook. Let's just do let's go to LinkedIn, Stratham Company. And hit see what pops up. She says, look at this, portfolio manager. That's a possibility. Let's go down here, see what her profile says. Regional portfolio manager, SoCal Pacific, Peak Living. Look at right there. Okay. Regional consulting manager for the Stratham Group, full time. Let's click on that and see if there's anything. Well, from July. So they're still around, the Stratham Group. Let's see if it pops up that way. There you go. Look at that. David Lamb, owner, Stratham Group. All right. Irvine, California. Stratham Group of companies. All right. Let's see what we can click on there and what pops up there. Any contact information? Nope. Okay. So let's do Stratham Group, Irvine, California, and go into search and see if we can't find a phone number for them. Right there. They're still around. So they may buy more stuff. They may not be doing notes anymore. That's fine. Yep, pretty good size group there. They're building, okay? Might make sense to reach out to you. Have anything on your books you're looking to get rid of? Principal, president, partner, VP strategies, director of land development, CFO, controller, regional property manager. Maybe reaching out to Teresa Teichman, okay? Or David Lamb, like we saw him on there. Or King Von Razi is probably a little more active, but there you go. Click on that and shoot him an email. But you get what I'm saying, everybody. That's how you find other deals. Look, you can go to those little the websites and you'll find some that show up. And if they say no, okay, they say no. But going out and finding people that have bought stuff, going and looking at some of the bigger names that were around who they sold to back in the day, and just searching in some of the bigger counties in Ohio, Michigan. Why did I pick Ohio, Michigan? Because that's where a lot of the stuff was. Okay. Go down to Florida. If you're in Miami-Dade, do a search for assignment of mortgage and see who they sold to down there. Broward County for Fort Lauderdale, Orange County. Now, Orange County is not going to be a contract for deed because they don't recognize, they're not going to have anything under, Florida recognizes a contract for deed and mortgage. It's better to just look for an assignment of mortgage, but you can still do a deed search, but you had more stuff that was assignments and looking for, okay, who did Granite sell to? Who did Harbor sell to? or assets that were in that area that you could potentially find. Okay. That good stuff, ladies and gentlemen, so far for you? You feeling, woo, I just got my money's worth there, right? Yeah, I should hope so. But those are the strategy. And that's why I always say there's more than enough to go around. That strategy right there is not going to be shared. Somebody I was talking to this week said they've gone to 2, 3, 4 other note classes or note conferences. And they always talking about how, what's so great about them and, the strategies, but they don't share with you how to actually find the deal. And that right there, ladies and gentlemen, is one strategy that's not being taught. It's how you find it. There's plenty enough to go around. You just got to spend some time working. Now, our one-on-one coaching that we offer up, we give you the list of database of buyers and sellers. We give you a list of asset managers to reach out to. That's all included in the one-on-one coaching that we offer up. So something to keep in mind for you, that we will literally help you rock it. Whoop, whoop, B likes that. Good stuff. All right, so let's do this, ladies and gentlemen. I think we're at let's do this. I don't want to take too long of a midday break. Oh, no, actually, it's only 11:45. Let's keep going here. A little out here. So anyway, good stuff. Let me go back here to our PowerPoint, and we'll dive into it, and then we'll take a little bit of a midday break for you guys, okay? All right. All right, everybody. So we obviously covered on a little bit of information there this last session. Make sure, look for old tapes, old sellers, old stale lists. What can you reasonably make in profits? What is your wholesaling profit margin? Some people are like, oh my God, it varies. It's going to vary some. So what can I expect to make? Let's talk about that. You can expect to make, and here's the thing, the bigger the discount, the larger profit potential. That's stupid to say. It's common sense, but some people don't realize that. Now, also, the more expensive, the lesser you're going to make, okay? Now, when you're looking at non-performing notes, you want to be below 70% of either the fair market value or the UPB, whichever is less. We prefer to be at 65 or less, okay? 70, you're going to get very kind of marginal, and then your best hope on profit margin is a percentage, a point or two. If you're at 65%, then, or below 65%, then you could look at wholesaling some deals and making more than a point or 3 points. Okay. Performing notes, you're going to make somewhere between, usually what's going to happen on a performing note, you can flip a note, or a portfolio. If you're selling it, helping somebody sell 1% of the funding amount. So if they owe 120,000, the value of the house is 250, and they're paying $90,000 for that performing note, you would make 1% of 90,000, which is what? $900. Okay. A point, 1% is usually 1 point equals 1%. 3 points equals make it 3%. Okay. Now you can also one of the things you look at is go look at people that are selling their performing notes. If they're selling them at a 12 yield, okay, 11 yield, 10 yield, and you on your buyers list have people that want to make 6% or 8% on their money, you can carve out the between. Okay, I'm going to buy it at 10%, and I'm going to sell it at 8% to somebody. I'm going to make that $2,000 difference or $3,000 difference in between the yield. Okay, so like if you're buying a note at 20 and somebody's got 25 to invest, well, you sell it at 25. You just got to make sure that yield based on the principal and interest times 12 divided by 25 is equals to that 6 or 8% they're looking for. Okay, buying at 12%, selling at 19% yield. You get what I'm saying? I'm sorry, I meant to have that flipped around. Selling at 19%, buying it at 12%. So it's a good, buying it at a big enough discount for you out there. Now, pool trades, same thing. It's going to be a percentage of the funding amount. Usually a non-performing pool is going to go somewhere between 1 to 3 points. Sometimes 2, 3. Some will do 2. Some will do 1.5. Some will do 3. It just depends on how big a discount across the board. And you'll see a weighted percentage oftentimes on pool trades. It says like, weighted average is at 45% of UPB. Okay, if it's non-performing, then you could probably sell it at 50% and make 5 points. But the point I'm trying to make is you still need to know what's in that asset. You need to know to be a really effective wholesaler. You got to know what's available. And you could do a flat fee if it's low balance stuff. Maybe it's $500. hey, and this is one of the things that we do for our mastermind group, and we do bring in tapes and stuff like that for our mastermind events, is that, people making offers, great. Hey, there's going to be a $500 to $1,000 transaction fee on top of each asset. You're still going to get, we're going to go to bat for you to get a bigger spread for you. But we're going to, for us to do that, and then helping, a lot of times the people that send us tapes, they don't want to deal with 20 assets or 20 buyers. They want to deal with one. So we've got to create paperwork for all 20. So everything gets sold to one asset, one entity, and then we immediately create assignments for all 20. And so there's going to be a flat fee cost for that. Okay. Now, here's the thing. If you're going to add value, you want to add value and profits. Okay. It's going to pay for you to do some due diligence. We'll dive a little bit more. A couple of things that are very cheap for you to order on the front end side. Look at the deal. And I talk about spaghetti on the wall. Some people just send out a list. Some people just send out a flat list, and we'll talk, where the addresses are removed. Hey, make an offer. Look, if I don't know what the bid price is, if I don't know what it is, it's not worth me doing. And there are some yahoos out there that send out lists with these street addresses removed, and they're just like, make an offer. I'm like, well, your offer, what you want for them doesn't make any sense when it comes to when you actually crunch the numbers. And then also, if you're looking at an individual asset, go and provide as much information as possible. Okay. A great example is my buddy Paul Riley. He's one of our WCN members. He's in the process of selling his first note. And Paul, he might be on here today. Okay. Paul's doing a great job. He's not on here today. That's okay. He's got this asset, a performing note he's been working on for 3 weeks to take down. So his investor is dragging his feet on funding. His investor walks. So he's like, oh my God, I could flip it. I'm going to either buy it at 65 or I'll flip it at 75. All right. And basically, if somebody buys a note at 75, it's still like a 12 or 13% return on investment to them. He's got it under contract. He's done all the due diligence. So he can create a flyer about it. He's got a good picture, talks about the details, the rent rates. It's a performing note with like 22 months of history. The values above the UPB. He put a nice photo together, and he's getting people to reach out to him to either potentially buy the deal from him, or he's going to wholesale it. They're either going to fund it or wholesale. Okay. But he's provided his money. He's got the copy of the due diligence, the collateral files. He's really got a nice, tight package together. Okay. Got a really nice package for some folks there for you. You want to do the due diligence like you're going to buy the deal yourself. Like some of those other ones we talked about, like off of the paper sec paper. Pull some photos. What's the value of these properties? What's the rent rates? Okay. Now, don't expect you to jump on a plane to fly out there. That wouldn't be worth it in wholesaling, but it's worth looking at what the neighborhood looks like. How old are the photos on Google Maps? Okay. And that's the thing. Most people don't know how to market. All right. You've got to share a picture. Now, what I would do if I had 4 assets together like that, I would take the time and put a little PowerPoint together. That would be an ideal thing you could do lunch and learn on. Or, hey, I got a deal of the week. We got a portfolio of 4. Of course, the big thing was get it under contract first. When they find out what his lease model, so you control the assets. So then you can market. Then you can share the addresses in your marketing because you have a vested interest in the deal. Okay. Now you might say, hey, here's a Pittsburgh asset, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, in the 7705. You don't want to put the street address out because you don't want people trying to go around. You want people first to respond to you to get the information so you can control the flow of data. Okay. It's great to do a video, a PowerPoint on the 4 addresses. Don't share the addresses of streets. With it, just say, hey, here's another Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It's a non-performer. It's worth this. We can, somebody's willing to sell this as one of the 4. We're selling these all 4 together as a bulk deal. Okay. But don't share the address. That way, if somebody is serious about it, they're going to contact you. If you like the full information, if you like what you saw on the video or like what you saw here, drop me an email and we'll be glad to get you the full information. And that's when you would go the next step of having them sign a non-disclosure agreement with you so that they're not, or a non-compete non-disclosure to try to go around you. And we'll talk about those documents later on here for you, much more in depth. Okay. But don't throw spaghetti against the wall and just say, I got 4 assets here, no photos, nothing. Nobody looks at that shit. Okay. Take time, pull a street photo, a street image, a current photo off the county records. Some county records in the country, county assessors actually have the best looking, most current photo you can find online that you can use in your marketing. What's going on? Is it occupied? Is it vacant? What's the rent rate? When was the last payment made? How far behind are the taxes? things you should look at for your own due diligence. And I know you still want to, people always trust but verify, but the more information you put in that pitch deck, I guess you could say, the more valuable you're going to be to your potential buyer. The more they're going to take it serious about what you're doing, and the more value you're going to add across the board. And if you don't have a list, that's the first thing you can do. It'd help. Hey, check out these 4 deals in Pittsburgh. Check out a video we're doing and post it on YouTube. The reason you don't put the addresses, is that nobody can go around you. Nobody can go look at it. It can be an older tape or an older asset stuff that you've been marketing for a while. I mean, we still get people that look at our videos from when we were wholesaling stuff years ago, for Granite and Harbor and Distress Pro and stuff like that. Or not Distress Pro, but Direct Source. People see that and they want to get involved with things. Okay. So that's one of the most important things you do: add value and profits. Okay. So good stuff there. Let's do this, ladies and gentlemen. It is right at 12 o'clock here on the dot. Let's take we're gonna take a 30-minute lunch break for you. Get up, stretch, go get something to drink, something to nibble on. You're at the house. Call your Uber or DoorDash to deliver. We're gonna take a 30-minute break. Let you get up, stretch, like grab a sandwich or something, and we'll be right back at 1/2 past the hour. Okay.